And we are live. Welcome to the Political Orphans. My name is Nico Lagan, and I am your in-house conservative. To my left, Rob Ambrose, our token liberal. Our goal is simple. We want to show you that it's possible for a lefty and a righty to not only get along, but to be able to have a civil conversation when we disagree. Because never forget, common sense has no political affiliations. What's going on, man?
Kevin, brother. Looks like you got laptop issues mostly figured out, for at least.
No, I got an alternative.
Yes.
I got an alternative that should hopefully. It seems pretty smooth. Like yesterday,
I don't see any lagging or everything seems.
Yesterday, I could, and there's no lag between you and I either. So you fixed your internet issue. I fixed. Yeah. I have a temporary solution until my fucking laptop gets fixed.
So here it is, fucking Thursday, and we get it dialed in. For the first time all week.
Shut up. You had to say something like that, didn't you?
Yeah, jinx it.
Yep.
All right, so, what do you got today?
Like I said, yeah, well, for the guys out there, what's going on, wise guy? So for the people that are used to it, we're trying kind of a new format here. We're trying to be more organized. So not only are we going to cut it at 2 hours, because we want to be able to be broadcasted somewhere soon. No revelations or anything. That's something we're working on behind the scene. But I also want to start creating 20-minute videos, which is a snippet of the show, all the best part per topic. So every day now, I'm going to start with an introduction of the 5 stories that we're going to cover, unless obviously something breaks open as we're talking. We're going to address that. But yeah, so we're going to have a little 1 minute intro where I just go from subject to subject in what I think is a cool way. So bear with me. Now, Danielle Smith is considering withholding provincial services. Oh, hold on. That is so wrong. I made a mistake and I'm catching myself as I'm doing it.
Right,
that's awesome.
All right. Scratch that.
Take we go back. See, it doesn't. It's alive. I fuck up all the time.
It's all good.
Danielle Smith is considering withholding provincial services from some immigrants and focus on newcomers that will actually make Alberta better. During the NATO Summit, Marx Carney was asked if he would need to increase our taxes or cut on major projects to cover the cost of his new out-of-control spending. And surprise, surprise, he didn't answer the question. RFK is making the news twice today. First, he just froze U.S. funding for one of Bill Gates' company, and he has a very wild plan for the next 4 years. Finally, our American correspondent, Jason D, is going to be joining us to speak about Zohran Mamdani, the communist candidate that just won the Democrat primary in New York City. This is going to be a show you don't want to miss. Let's do this. Woo!
Nice.
Okay.
Nice. Good job.
That should be okay. I shouldn't sound that retarded after the show. I'll make it look good.
Oh yeah. I mean, as long as you can edit out all this shit before and after it. So make us look sharper than we actually are.
Nobody will know, brother. Nobody. That is why I'm so good at what I do.
That's why you get paid the big bucks. Wise guy.
Circle story, bro.
What's
going on, wise guy?
What are we going to start with? Because I assume we'll leave Zoltan there for Jason. I can't wait to have Jason on. I miss that guy.
Zoltan. That is
you don't mess with the Zohan.
It just sounds. Doesn't his name sound like a super villain?
Yeah, he really does, eh? Zoltan. Sounds like an 80s.
Zohran.
Yeah. I'm excited to talk about that. He's an interesting character. I definitely don't agree with his policies, but man, remember how you said like or hate Obama, like the man could speak. This guy is a charismatic speaker. He's definitely I can see why he won the Democratic primary, at least.
Oh yeah.
He's I don't, man, he seems like he's got all the tools to be like a highly successful, charismatic politician. The policies are fucked. Like he needs to, if he were to shift towards the center somewhere, he could be a national politician easy. I mean, he could run for president on the Democratic ticket. But just based on, I'm not talking about policies. I'm not talking about anything else. I'm just saying just personal charisma, the way the guy speaks, he's got that it factor for sure.
You know what? I remember seeing this guy a few months back. He was in a protest of some type and he was losing his shit like a fucking adolescent. Like he was trying to act tough in front of the police.
Yeah, no, that's like once we get to it, I've got like a minute and a half clip of him talking, a speech he gave, and you'll see what I mean. Like, and I think it's, especially, as Sun Tzu said, you got to know your enemies too, as well as know yourself. So, we can't just say, oh, he's a commie, like he's an idiot. Like you gotta at least respect the strengths that he has and understand his appeal to people if you want to push back on him.
I don't know, man. I saw the way he acted, and that is not the way somebody needs to behave. I don't even care that you're a politician or not, just as a regular person. Like, if I would have been the police officer, I would have swooped the back leg and I would have threw him silly. But, we'll see. I haven't listened to any of his stuff. Yeah. I read a lot about what he said, but I haven't listened to him. But I don't like his politics. I don't like what he's preaching.
No.
Things like defund the police. You're a fucking idiot. You're just an absolute moron.
Especially if you're saying no, we really mean actually defund the police. Should we take this comment here before we get to the first topic? Just a quick one from Joe.
If you want to, man.
So Joe said he won because intelligent working class people would rather have an honest socialist than another bullshit corporate conservative establishment puppet. Same reason Trump won. Yeah, I actually saw, I got a vibe of some similarities, certainly not in policy or even temperament, but like, we'll talk about it when we get to it. But I was thinking just while doing research for this piece, Joe, I was thinking about you specifically. I thought that you would have some interesting insight in this, and Jason as well. I think it's going to be it'll be an interesting topic of discussion. But take us away for what we're going to start with.
Yeah, because I can tell you we're definitely going to disagree on that one, because that guy is twat, and guys like him are so dangerous. Well, and unfortunately, the kids and the low 20s people don't read history. They don't understand what communism does to a country. So as much as I understand that there's a problem with capitalism, I see it. And it's not capitalism that's the problem. It's corporationalism that's the problem. But at the same time, it's the best system we've got right now, and nobody will ever be able to convince me that socialism and communism is the way to go. Nobody, because I know history and I know how dangerous that is. And just for the people out there, it is credited to have killed about 100 million people in the 20th century. Those are some of the estimates. Some are higher, some are lower, but those are the numbers you see all the time between Stalin, Mao, in Cuba. Like, name it, they always go after their people. So, never forget that communism can be voted in, but you're going to have to fight to take it out. That's a problem. The first subject I wanted to talk about, and that's our main subject for the day, because as we said in the past, we will try to keep up to date as to what's going on in Alberta, because they are leading a very, very different, they're very different from the rest of Canada, but at the same time, man, I like Danielle Smith. I like what she's saying. And now she's getting some hate for the new Alberta Next panel that's going to be starting this summer. So they have a brand new website talking about it. Before I show you a 6-minute speech that she put on their website, I want to show you what mainstream media thinks it's all about. And it's interesting because if you just listen to them, you're like, oh, okay, that could be a problem. Maybe. I don't think so, but I can see how a lot of people are going to be looking at this and saying, yeah, that could potentially be a problem. But then we'll listen to what mainstream media has to say. Then I'll show you what Danielle Smith said. And then I got a video that they talk about in the mainstream media video that I'm just about to show you, to kind of illustrate that this is something that you and I talk about all the time. And to me, Just sounds like fucking common sense, something that should be a blueprint for the rest of Canada. But here is CTV News trying to explain to us what is Alberta next.
Well, the UCP government has introduced the idea of withholding services from immigrants as part of the Alberta Next tour this summer. The panel, chaired by the Premier, has introduced surveys to Alberta deal about so-called intrusions from Ottawa. Nicole Lampa is tracking all this for us this morning. So, Nicole, the topics that the panel wants to discuss are robust. Why would the UCP consider withholding social services?
Well, Kent, in a video about immigration posted on the Alberta Next panel website, it talks about how immigration is a shared area of responsibility, saying the federal government decides who is allowed in, and then provinces provide social programs.
If Alberta isn't satisfied with the number or kind of newcomers moving to our province, we may have the option to withhold provincial social programs to any non-citizen or non-permanent resident who does not have an Alberta-approved immigration status.
The Alberta Next panel online site was launched Tuesday afternoon. It includes videos that must be watched before taking 6 discussion surveys. Premier Danielle Smith argues the panel is not about separatism, but is exploring ideas, policies, and rights within a united Canada.
Ottawa, led by successive Liberal governments propped up by their NDP allies, have attacked our economy and taken direct aim at Alberta's core industries.
Danielle Smith says Alberta is at a crossroads and says the Alberta Next panel is made up of more than a dozen people who were chosen, politicians, academics, business leaders, and more. We'll listen to Albertans about defending the province's economy and how to push back against Ottawa. Critics argue this panel and the material about topic discussions are concerning, particularly the video about immigration.
The idea that you would start to deny newcomers access to basic services, to healthcare, it doesn't sound very reasonable to people. And I think they better be careful because it could blow back on them politically.
But the reality is that within her own party, Danielle Smith has a very strong contingent that does support some of these things. And they are vocal, they are animated, and they are organized. And so she needs to respond to some of that.
Now, according to the Alberta Next website, the 6 topics listed right now are just initial discussions and may be modified. And according to the province, the ideas gathered from the process will inform referendum questions that Albertans will vote on next year. Kent.
Okay. So there you have it. This is what CTV News says about it. I will show a video from Danielle Smith herself, because she gave a 42-minute presentation yesterday, which we're not going to cover at all. Like, I don't think anybody's that patient here. But I wanted, there's on the website, the same website that they're talking about, that they have 6 different subjects. There is the immigration video. I will show that right after. But I want to show what Danielle Smith is talking about, because, you know, this was the whole point of me starting with CTV News, mainstream media. They're making it sound like she's racist as shit, that everything that she's doing is wrong. Yet, just to put it into perspective, basically what she's saying is that it's 2 things when it comes to immigration. One, should some newcomers have access to our social services, especially the provincial social services? Because as you'll see in the video, they're basically saying, listen, we don't get to choose who comes to Canada. That's a federal responsibility. But we do have the power to say yes or no to social services like healthcare, because that's a provincial program. So I agree with her. You know, I just posted about this morning. My post is going viral on Instagram, and you know what? I don't think they're going far enough. Screw this shit. No newcomers should have access to our social services unless you provided or contributed into it. We can argue 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, however the number is. Don't tell me that because you're an immigrant, you get to take advantage of a system that we've been contributing our whole life as Canadians. It's fucking bullshit. And there needs to be something that stops the free ride. This ain't about making immigrants feel at home and feel welcome. It's about making immigrants work for Canada and make Canada better. Plain and fucking simple.
Yeah. I think your assessment of that is pretty bang on. It's really funny watching that, because they're trying so hard to spin this as some like racist, xenophobic policy, and it's just so fucking common sense. It, like, as you said, Alberta doesn't have the right to say, you know, no, you can't come to Alberta because it's a federal jurisdiction for immigration, but they do have some control over their their provincial social programs. So they can say, hey, yeah, come out to Alberta. We're happy to have you. We're not going to give you any welfare benefits, but yeah, other than that, come on over. And it's funny because, like, you know, they'll always say, oh, well, immigrants aren't here to take benefits, but how many of them are actually going to go to Alberta if they don't get benefits, right? Like, I thought it wasn't about the benefits.
I would love to see that, because you're making a very good point. We know how many ended up there last year. So this obviously is not like the panels that she's talking about are going to take place over the summer. She'll explain it in the video I'm just about to show you. Okay. But how dare she talk to the people and ask them what they want, and then even ask for a referendum? How the fuck would she ever do that? How would a responsible leader dare listen to their citizens? Yet they did not mention that in CTV News, right? They don't talk about that part, that she actually wants Albertans to make a decision, because I've never heard Danielle Smith say anywhere that she wants to separate from Canada. On the contrary, from what I hear from my sources within her party, or that are very close to her, she doesn't want to separate. She might want to be sovereign within Canada, but she doesn't want to be an independent. A lot of the sovereign movement are like, she's not radical enough. They want to separate. She's trying to keep it together if she can, if that's possible.
Yeah. I mean, we discussed that with Mark Nixon last week, just how that was such a brilliant political tightrope walking act she did, because, you know, she had to, she had very little wiggle room on either side. If she goes too much on the separation side, then of course anyone who wants to stay say, oh, you're a traitor or whatever. If she goes too soft on it, then she loses a huge chunk of sovereignness in Alberta. And I think she hit it right on the nose. I actually don't think she would campaign for leaving. I think she's a true leader and a true democratically elected leader. And she says, listen, I personally don't want to leave, but it's my job to represent the will of the people. And I'm going to give the people a chance to have their voice heard. And, you know, how can you argue with that? And that's exactly what she's doing here with this panel. That's literally, she's going around to Alberta and asking Albertans what they think. And I guarantee you, a lot of them are saying immigration is out of control. And so that's probably where this is coming from. Like, how dare she do what her constituent wants? Meanwhile, you've got the paragon of democracy over in Ukraine. Zelensky's fucking canceled elections, and they can't shovel enough billions at him. But Danielle Smith is a threat to democracy because she's actually listening to her constituents.
And you'll see, so I have a video that they released yesterday. You'll see how racist she is, how she's such a dictator, and she doesn't care about Albertans. Check this video out. Be ready, though. You better strap on, literally, because this is going to be a wild ride.
Alberta, our home. Pristine mountains and lakes, wide open pastures and fertile fields, unmatched natural resources, world-class cities, world-class people. Alberta truly has it all. We are a strong and free people, full of entrepreneurs, food producers, builders, caregivers, teachers, and a whole lot of hardworking, tough as nails, get her done grit. Our potential is as limitless as our skies. But let's face it, Alberta is being held back. Our economy has been under attack for most of the last 10 years. Frankly, off and on for decades long before then. Not by a foreign country or by world economic forces. No, Alberta's biggest threat to our prosperity and growth has come from our own nation's capital.
See how clever she is? She said it's not the WEF that's holding us back. It's not world globalist forces. It's our own Ottawa. It is the politicians in Ottawa. she's very clever because she's addressing it, saying she's not saying that it's not, because technically by association, we all know that Trudeau and Carney are parts of the WEF. So she's very, again, that woman is fucking clever. She's giving props to the guys that are more like me, saying, oh shit, we got a globalist banker in charge and that guy is gonna give us away to Europe. She's like, oh, you know what, guys? It's the problem is in Ottawa, not overseas. She's not wrong, because technically it starts in Ottawa, right? She's clever, man.
Oh no, she's very smart. Yeah, keep going there.
Yep.
Has an Ottawa problem. For the last 10 years, Ottawa, led by successive Liberal governments propped up by their NDP allies, have taken direct aim at Alberta's core industries. Ottawa's Bill C-69 killed several major Alberta pipeline and resource projects. Their West Coast tanker ban specifically blocks Alberta oil from accessing world markets. Their excessive industrial carbon taxes and the new oil and gas emissions cap are designed to keep our world-class oil and gas reserves in the ground. And net zero mandates on everything from electricity to vehicles are causing the cost of living to increase, business costs to soar, and are even endangering the stability of our power grid in the dead of winter. And the effects on Alberta's economy have been staggering. In just the last 10 years alone, more than $500 billion, that's $500 billion, in global investment capital destined for our resource sector has disappeared. It walked away from Alberta and Canada, and instead headed off to Texas, Asia, and the Middle East, to places that welcome resource development and jobs. That cost Alberta and Canada quite literally hundreds of billions in GDP, corporate taxes and resource royalties for healthcare, education, and public infrastructure. It cost hundreds of thousands of jobs and thousands of healthy and growing businesses. It was national self-harm on a level never seen. And no province was hurt more than ours. And those costs keep building every single day. But we're not just losing investment, we're losing trust. As I said, this story is bigger than just the last decade. Alberta has been treated unfairly for decades long before that. We built roads, rail, power, jobs, and prosperity for this country. Yet we've been told to keep quiet and be grateful while sending $20 billion a year more to Ottawa than we receive back in funding each year. In fact, since 1980, Alberta has contributed $653 billion more to federal taxes than we receive back. That means well over $500 billion went directly from Alberta.
The rest of us should be thanking our lucky stars they're still here.
So we're talking about almost $750 billion since the 1980s that they gave more than they received. And just over the past 10 years, they've lost the equivalent of about $500 billion in potential revenue for oil and gas.
So all told, it's like over $1 trillion. And all they want is a fucking pipeline. And we're like, nah, can't do it. You know, this literally, if we gave them a fucking pipeline, they'd be happy. Like, man, we're fucking lucky that they're generally good-natured. Albertans are good-natured people, because they should have been out fucking long ago, really.
And we're lucky that a woman like her is trying to make amends. Like, she's trying to fix this fucking relationship. Because if it was me, I'd be like, boo, we out, bitches.
Yeah, exactly. Bye. No, she to me, she seems like the right person for the moment right now. I think Canada's lucky that she is the leader in this moment, because you're right. I think she is trying to make amends. I think she wants to keep Canada together, but I think she will separate if that's what the people decide in Alberta. But I think she wants to keep Canada whole, and we've discussed this a lot when it first came out. Is it too late? I mean, none of us know. But if it isn't, if they do stay, I think the whole nation is going to owe Danielle Smith a debt of gratitude.
Couldn't agree more.
Is larger than ours through programs, transfers, and equalization. And despite this, we have continued to be the economic engine and job-creating juggernaut of this country, and have opened our province to those from every corner of Canada looking for work and opportunity. And when we point out these facts, how do Ottawa politicians and Eastern elites respond? Our concerns are dismissed, our values marginalized,
Exactly what you
our
just
leaders
said.
vilified,
Yeah.
and our industries remain targeted. Most Albertans are or want to be proud Canadians. We fought for this
Again,
country, fed
She's
this
clever,
country,
man.
and
She's
powered this
very
country.
clever.
But the status quo relationship with Canada cannot continue. It's time for Alberta to take a stand with ideas, with facts, with our voices, and with action. If Canada is to be a strong and unified country, it must include a strong and sovereign Alberta, able to pursue our own potential without being held back by our own country. That's why we're launching the Alberta Next panel, a province-wide series of in-person and virtual town halls where your voice, your ideas, and your values will help shape Alberta's road ahead. The Alberta Next panel gives you a seat at the table to speak directly with industry and government leaders, constitutional scholars, and policy experts to explore ideas
Sounds like
for Alberta.
that's how you
ensure
make
our
government
constitutional
policy.
rights to prosper and become an
How ludicrous to involve your people in
Yeah.
government policies. What?
Look at this, this racist and her consulting stakeholders, holding town hall meetings, like so racist, right? So she can go out and do all these town hall meetings. She could talk to every Albertan, and if she comes back, and the libs will be fine with it as long as she comes back with recommendations that fit within, far left woke talking points. The second it doesn't, oh, she's a racist. It was, if you guys are just tuning in and didn't see how we opened this segment, we showed a clip of mainstream media just falling all over themselves, trying to make this, what we're watching right now, appear racist. Like, does any of this sound racist to you? To me, this just looks like good governance.
Just fucking common sense.
Yeah.
and become an equal partner in Confederation, and to discuss how we can protect Alberta from outside economic attacks going forward. And when the panel has finished its work, it will recommend which ideas should be put to the people of Alberta for a referendum vote in 2026. Now, I know these can be tough and emotional conversations, and that's okay. We are Albertans. We can have hard conversations and share our ideas and opinions respectfully, and stay good friends and neighbors while doing so. Because really, the vast majority of Albertans, regardless of their politics or backgrounds, all want the same thing. We want to live in a country that works for us, not against us. It's about building an Alberta that is strong, free, and sovereign within a united Canada that respects and empowers our province to achieve our full potential. And that's why I need your help, because the best ideas don't come from government, they come from you, from the shop floor, the field, the classroom, the boardroom. Albertans are doers, builders, problem solvers. And we've had enough of waiting for someone else's permission to turn that energy into even more prosperity for our province. That's why we need to take the next step. Alberta Next is about doing just that. It's about asking, what else can we do? Where else can we lead? What powers can we assert that are already ours? It's time to explore every option and to pursue every good solution. So what comes next? That's up to you. Join us this summer in your community or online. Register, show up, be heard, so our beautiful Alberta can remain forever strong and free.
How racist of her.
Yeah, I mean, just eminently reasonable. I feel like we all forgotten what actual governance looks like. When people aren't worried about culture wars or woke talking points or virtue signaling, just doing what's right for your constituents. She just struck all the right notes there. I think she's a highly talented politician. Honestly, I wouldn't even say she's necessarily a talented politician. She is, but I think it's mostly just that she's just authentic. What you see is what you get. She's not, she's polished, but she's not like insanely charismatic or anything. She's just someone that you can tell gives a shit about the people of Alberta, and she's smart. And And what more can you ask for in a leader?
I'm a fan. I don't know her personally. I haven't had the chance to shake her hand or have a conversation with her yet. I know I will, but I like what she stands for. I like what she's doing. She's, you said it earlier, and I think that's exactly what Alberta needs right now. Because there's people out there that just wants to separate, that become their own nation. They don't want anything to do with Canada, and I get it. I fucking understand it. But at the same time, you have somebody like her that's kind of playing the line right now. And she seems, at least at the moment, that she's giving enough space for Albertans to make the decision, to tell them what they want. And from there, you know what? Hopefully, even if it goes towards they want to separate, she'll just do her job and say, you know what, let's put it to a vote. Let's put it to a referendum. See what happens, and we'll take it from there, because that's what a leader should be doing. At the end of the day, leaders work for us, not the other way around, right? So it's just great to see a leader that seems to care, that seems to want to do the right thing. Even if she doesn't necessarily agree as a person, she'll still do it because that's what's right for the people. It's hard to believe. It's hard to believe that I'm talking about a politician right now.
Yeah. She, it seems like her take is, I want Canada to be whole. I don't want us to leave, but if my people decide to leave, I'm gonna lead them out. You know what I mean? Like she'll do whatever. It's not ideological for her, I don't believe. I think she's clearly a proud Albertan. It's her home, and she wants to do whatever is right for Alberta as assessed by the majority of the people of Alberta. I think both Alberta and Canada is lucky that she is the premier in this moment.
So before we start taking comments, there's one more video I wanted to show, because remember in the first video I showed you from CTV, they're actually talking about that immigration part. That's what they kept on talking and talking about.
That's all they focused on. Forget everything else.
Of course, because they didn't mention any of the town halls. They didn't mention the fact that she wants Albertans to talk to her, tell them what they want. They didn't talk about this video I just showed you that was 100% common sense. We want to work with Ottawa, but Ottawa needs to stop not working with us. They need to help us be able to make money as well. But here is, before we open the conversation to the commenters, I want to show this video because that's the racist video that they wouldn't stop talking about. Yet at the same time, I was listening to this morning. I'm like, ding, 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 mic drop, I'm out. Okay, that's it, I'm done. That video confirmed to me that if I were to stay in Canada and I had to move to live somewhere, I'd be living in Alberta.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, let's see this racist, super racist video here.
Our next topic is Alberta taking more control of the immigration system to counter Ottawa's open border policies, which are driving up the cost of living and are not aligned with the needs of Alberta's economy. In just over 100 years, Alberta's population has grown from a few 100,000 farmers, ranchers, and First Nations peoples to a province of over 5 million, with one of the most prosperous economies in the world. This great success story would not have been possible without new Albertans moving here from all over the world. That is why Alberta has always welcomed newcomers looking to contribute to our province's economic success and unique culture, and we always will. However, as all Canadians intuitively understand, the number of newcomers entering the country each year needs to be sustainable.
I love this. They're dumbing it down, but it's so simple. A child could understand.
Love of freedom and peaceful
and you can't argue against
what
she's
Sadly,
I can't stop this video, so just let it go, because I don't have the possibility of pausing
by instituting an open borders policy that permitted millions to enter Canada, often without any sort of proper vetting, job prospects, or needed employment skills. The results have been disastrous. Housing prices have skyrocketed. Unemployment keeps increasing as immigration outpaces job growth. And sadly, many of the divisions and disputes that plague other countries have begun making their way into ours. Further, Ottawa has ignored the request of Alberta and other provinces to cut refugee claimants and student visas, while instead focusing on a much smaller and targeted number of economic migrants able to contribute to Canada's economy. So what can Alberta do about the situation? Quite a bit, actually. You see, under the Constitution, immigration is a shared area of responsibility between the federal and provincial governments, which makes sense. Essentially, the federal government gets to decide who they let into Canada, but it's up to the provinces to provide the vast majority of the social programs that newcomers need. So obviously, we should have a say about who is coming here. If Alberta isn't satisfied with the number or kind of newcomers moving to our province, we may have the option to withhold provincial social programs to any non-citizen or non-permanent resident who does not have an Alberta-approved immigration status. This would likely encourage more sustainable numbers of immigration overall, while supporting the entry of newcomers that can contribute to our provincial economy. If Alberta went this direction, Ottawa could decide to fight Alberta on this issue in the courts, and there would be some additional costs in taking a more hands-on approach to immigration. However, much, if not all of that cost, could be offset in corresponding savings to our social programs. So, should Alberta take more control of the immigration system in this way, or continue with the status quo? And how can our province convince Ottawa to act more responsibly with their immigration policies in the future?
And you know what's cool about this? I'm just going to let it load, but see, there you go. They actually want you to take a survey. So they have a bunch of those videos. I think it's 6 of them. And then afterwards, they want to take a survey and for you to say, are you, because I didn't take the survey yet. I wanted to see what it looked like, but see how I confirm that I'm a resident of Alberta and understand that will not be included in the survey result. You know what? Let's lie. For sake of argument, I know we have somebody from Alberta here, so let's do. Oh, motherfucker! Of course, they're asking for a postal code. Give me a postal code.
give us an Alberta. Someone give us an Alberta postal code. While we're,
no, I don't want to. You know what? I don't want to fudge the number. I don't want to mess with their numbers. So hold on.
What is it though? What is this?
Let's say that I'm not an Albertan. It says that I can still take the survey, but it won't be counted.
Oh, I got you. I see. But it's cool though. It's cool though. It's a good way to reach out. You know, I honestly, I thought that's what I think the liberal position on immigration should be. You know, she started the video saying, of course, we need immigration. You know, sustainable, controlled immigration where immigrants come over and they become it's a net benefit to society. So they're not, you know, they're doing away with, you know, the xenophobia or whatever. Like no one's saying we don't want immigrants. They focus on the number, just the number. It's funny how the left and the media like, oh, she's racist. She didn't talk about race at all. She talked about like if you jumped and assumed that was black people or brown people, I mean, maybe you're the racist. That's on you. She's talking about bodies, human bodies, right? It don't matter if they're white, black, brown, pink, blue. If you have X amount of numbers of people come into a society in a small amount of time, it's not going to be sustainable. It's going to tax infrastructure. It's going to shoot housing prices up like it did. It's going to harm healthcare outcomes and healthcare services like it has. And that has nothing to do with race. So, the left, people just need to start ignoring, you know, the media, the way they always go to, there's just a one-trick pony, right? Oh, he's racist, hate. No, man, it's that liberal open borders immigration policies have failed. They're not good for the country. And we need to be able to talk about that. What she's saying is completely reasonable. Of course, the provinces should be able to, and I hope the rest of the country uses this as a model.
Here's what basically she's saying. If you want to have social services like healthcare, we need to make sure that the people that are taking advantage of it contributed or they're contributing. Plain and simple. That is all her messaging is. And how can you really disagree with this? Because if you do agree with this, that means that social services cannot continue. We can't. And unlike what the leftists, a lot of liberal people think, oh yeah, but we just need to bring in more immigrants. Yeah, but hold on. If those immigrants are filling out low-wage jobs, or they're not participating, or they haven't participated over the past 5-10 years, they're just taxing our system. So that just means you're putting more and more emphasis on Canadian workers. You're expecting them to pay more taxes, to pay more into those social services in order to continue having those social services. Yet, if you look right now, healthcare being one of them, 1 out of 5 Canadians like me, like my wife, don't have access to a doctor. We need to make appointment through the Quebec's hotline because we don't have a family doctor. And that's 1 out of 5 Canadians. Do you think an immigrant should have access to this shit? If as a guy that's been paying for
I bet you they have more.
Years, of course they
I bet
do.
you more,
of course
more of
they
them
do.
have a doctor than I don't have a doctor either. I haven't been to a doctor in years.
But how insane is that as somebody, I've lived here my whole life. I've started working, I was about 15. I've been contributing ever since, almost 30 years now of contribution. I cannot even get access to a doctor unless I call a hotline. Like, how insane is that? How insane that somebody, and when I say contributing, for almost 2 decades, I paid 50% of my fucking salary because of the tax bracket that I was in. Yet I don't get access to the social services that I'm supposed to be paying for. But you expect me to be okay with brand new immigrants, permanent resident, to have access to this shit? No. And I'm not sorry to say this. This has nothing to do with racism. This is just pure fucking common sense. If you want those social services to continue to exist, you need people to contribute, not people to tax it.
Yeah. And I think that's, I think that's the angle that we should be hitting or thinking about it from, is even if you're the most bleeding heart liberal and you want to help every single refugee and vulnerable person in the world, then you should be the one speaking loudest against waste and corruption and fraud in the social safety net, because every dollar given to someone who doesn't deserve it is a dollar that cannot go to someone more deserving. And it's entirely reasonable and appropriate for Danielle Smith to do this. It's like if you're having a party, it's entirely reasonable to limit how many people go in there. To say I can't have any more than 20 people in my home because that's as big as, it's not that big. No one's going to call you racist because you're not going to allow 300 people crammed into your home. It's just a matter of actual fucking physical space. And we need to stop letting the left get away with this shit. We're calling everything that goes against, woke ideology or woke talking points is hate. It's bigotry, and it's nonsense. I think she's well within her rights here, and I hope this catches on.
I couldn't agree with you more. So let's take some of the comments here, because the comments are going crazy.
Yeah. There's a lot
Bumpy
of them
Johnson
here.
is saying that the challenge with separatism in Canada is not falling for the breadcrumbs. You're eating breadcrumbs while they're sipping champagne. I agree with you, but that's why, unlike the Quebec separation that didn't have any grounds outside of we're French and we want to be special, they do have ammunition. Alberta has oil and gas. If you open that tap, they will grow their middle class to places we can't even fucking imagine right now. Because oil and gas jobs, they fucking pay, bro. And there's a lot of people ready to go there and work. Like, I remember, man, when I was still in my 20s, I had a bunch of my friends that would actually go to the oil sands in Alberta. They would stay there for 6 months to a year straight. They would get a few days of vacation every month. All they would do is send the money back home to their family and stack a crazy amount of money, just because all they did is work. It's hard fucking work. It's dangerous work, but it fucking pays. So there's something to be taken. There's something to be said about Alberta, and they have the power to grow their middle class and actually help Canada stop dependencies on Saudi Arabia, Iran, and other country for their oil when we can produce it right here.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. Wise guy. Sorry. Says if Danielle wanted to, she could become the next prime minister. As prime minister, she would have the power to fix all the bullshit the libs have done to Canada. I think if she wanted to, I mean, I think she could. She would have to. She couldn't, she wouldn't accidentally like back into it. She would have to intentionally go for it and try, because it's a pretty narrow pathway, especially now that she started to, she's not a separatist, but she's certainly separatist adjacent right now, just by necessity, because she's a premier of Alberta. She's got to walk a very, very narrow tightrope. But that's part of what I was saying when I said, man, she really, really threaded that needle so well, because, I can't imagine any other politician doing what she did a couple weeks ago, where she gave that speech essentially saying she's going to allow a referendum, and it did not immediately torpedo her chances of ever, theoretically, that should have been, she should never have been elected Prime Minister of Canada after that. And she still might not be, but it's a possibility. She hasn't killed her chances, which I think is a testament to how finely she threaded that needle.
She was elected, I'm just looking right now, Danielle Smith was elected as 19th Premier of Alberta on October 6, 2022. Carney just got elected, so they're about 2 years apart, like 2 years and something apart.
Okay.
That could be, because if you remember, she's talking about doing this in 2026. She wants to spend the summer as Alberta Next, town hall after town hall after town hall. She's mentioned multiple times in the past where she wants to hold referendum on Alberta sovereignty in 2026. So now she's gathering information. For the next 6 months, she'll gather. 2026, they're going to be talking about referendum. 2026 will take her to her re-election. By that time, we will see where Pierre Poilievre is sitting with the Conservative Party, because in my opinion, he's going to get replaced. If the Conservative want to have a chance at ever being elected again on the federal level, they need a real leader. And I do not see a real leader to the qualification of this woman. So technically it could work out, because if she's smart right now, she's prepping somebody behind the scene to take her place, somebody that you're going to see absolutely everywhere. She might give at the same time, the same thing when you're leading a company, you always have a guy that you're mentoring in the back end, when time comes, you're just going to prep him, move, just disappear. In my opinion, that's what she's doing. I don't know what I'm saying. At the end of the day, it's just my intuition, but the way that she's walking that line on purpose, because if she's successful, can you imagine that she runs a sovereign movement to have Alberta being independent from Ottawa, but still as part of Canada? Bro, she's giving a blueprint. She's giving a blueprint to BC. She could potentially give a blueprint to Quebec, to Ontario, anybody. Afterwards, once it's been done once, you can duplicate what they did. But imagine then that she moves and starts representing the Conservative Party of Canada, because she would eat Pierre Poilievre alive. Unlike Pierre Poilievre, she wouldn't have to do a little manipulation in order to get elected somewhere in Alberta. That woman can run any fucking where outside of Edmonton in Alberta. She'll get fucking elected on the federal level. Like, becoming an MP for her is 2 fingers up the nose. It wouldn't be hard at all.
No.
To me, she would be, with a woman like her, I would regain a bit of confidence in the Conservative Party in Canada, because she believes in free speech. She believes in gun rights. She believes in independence. She believes in restraint. Like, she wants restraints on She wants to be able for people to, similar to what what's his name, DeSantis did in Florida, to give the choice to the people to take it or not take it. To me, she is hitting on all. She's as conservative as it's possible to be within Canada. I would like her to be more conservative, but Overton window, impossible. She hits all the right notes to be elected as a conservative leader and even the future prime minister.
Yeah, I think, I'm just kind of listening to you talk there about everything she's been doing. And the word that pops in my head is flawless. She has not made one mistake, one slip up. And this is such, there's so many pitfalls, so many minefields. And she may very well hit hit one in the future. I'll be shocked if she can make it through this without any mistakes, just because it's such a complex and nuanced topic. But so far, just objectively observing, just as someone who appreciates, you know, the art of politics, she has done an incredible job. Yeah, this is a comment I was going to take. This is a great comment from Joe. He says, my lefty ass would vote for this woman for any American Democrat right now. Yeah, I mean, I
would vote for her for compared to any conservative in Canada. Like, name the politician. I don't care that they're American or Canadian. She's my favorite. Worldwide right now, she's North American. By far, she's my favorite. By far. I absolutely agree with Danielle Smith. She's clever as shit. I love it.
Smart, clever. What a strong argument for how, you know, how effective she is at reach across the aisle, where you have me and you, a lefty and a righty, both agreeing, not just that we would vote for her, but we would like enthusiastically vote for her. As if I could pick any one politician to be prime minister right now, it would probably be her.
It's not probably. I cannot think of one single other. There's probably, there's probably people in the Conservative Party that were elected, our MPs right now, that have the potential of becoming the party leader. But as we speak right now, she is so well spoken. She is so bang on the way she approached things. She's a good looking woman, which, let's not lie to each other.
Doesn't matter.
Justin Trudeau didn't get elected because he was smart. Let's be fucking honest here. People thought he was good looking and he had nice socks. Like, yes, but in politics, looks matter. But she has all the little things going for her. And if she continues handling it the way she's handling it now, it's going to be, she's literally running for the end zone. And I'm like, you ready? You ready for the ball? You ready? You ready? When do you want it? You want it? You want it? She's bang on, bro. I really like her.
What a testament to how effective she is that you have me and you, a lefty and a righty, both would enthusiastically vote for her for prime minister.
Don't forget Joe Stradamus, the guitar player that would vote for her.
The guitar player, far lefty. The far lefty. Yeah. Sorry. You take that.
Yep.
Take the one you were gonna.
Hate to break the news to Canadians, but your natural resources ain't going to be tapped for decades. First Nations have veto through Section 35, which can't be overwritten by Section 33. But at the same time, if you look at Bill C5, my apologies, the whole goal is to be able to overstep those on a federal level. And not only that, but you got to be careful with Bumpy, because Alberta has the power to go over the treaty as well. So unless we're not talking about the same things here, I know that the treaties that the First Nation have are federal. They're not provincial.
Yes, that's correct.
Jason Laving has spoken about that in the past, where they could override it. I don't see her doing it as to be like to do it like, like, fuck you people, we're not listening to you. But she will, I know that at one point she will make it clear that if Albertans vote for independence, sovereign, to build more pipelines, they won't have a choice, because they made it clear in the past that they want 1-to-1 vote. If you live in the province of Alberta, you're Albertan. Doesn't matter that you're First Nation, doesn't matter that you're an Indian, doesn't matter that you were born here. You have one vote because you're one person, and that's how it should be.
Yeah. Very well said. Joe Stradamus says, I'm still calibrating Canadian conservatives compared to the rabid fascist cult morons down here and the phony corporate Dems. Canadian conservatives appear relatively mild or moderate and centrist. We definitely are. I mean, Nico, you should probably take that one.
The thing is, Joe,
that's your wheelhouse.
The thing is that at the end of the day, I'm a conservative because I believe in conserving our values. That's why I'm a conservative with a small c, not Conservative Party of Canada. But there's a lot of things that I believe in, that, like abortion, for example. I don't believe in abortion. I think that should be canned from the get-go. But this is not a topic that can be addressed in Canada. So I know where to pick and choose the subjects that I can talk about for a conservative movement. Because right now, conservatives in Canada are leftists. They're not even right. Like, I'm way way right compared to the Conservative Party of Canada. Danielle Smith is more in the middle. She's more of a libertarian than she is, in my opinion, of a conservative. But I agree with you, Joe. It's, at the end of the day, I understand that I believe in God first and foremost. I cannot force people to do something, nor do I want to force people to do something. But I strongly believe that you'll have to explain yourself to God. I do my best to tell the truth and nothing but the truth, because that's what I'm supposed to do. But I can't change what people do or don't do. Nor do I want to be able to force them to do so, because at the end of the day, it's not my soul. You know what I mean? Like, I try to walk a fine line. As much as I'm way more right than Danielle Smith, I know that because of the Overton window, it will never end up where I want it to be. But I can live with somebody like her. As much as I didn't vote for Pierre Poilievre because he's not conservative, he doesn't deserve my vote, I would vote for her, although there's probably a lot of things I don't agree with. But we agree on enough that could bring Canada more to a centrist place where we should be.
And even if you don't agree with every single policy, you just, you've got someone who is authentic, who's smart, who seems honest, who seems
I'd
to
vote
care.
for her.
Where else
No
are you going to
question.
find that in the political landscape today?
Like, we think that Rob Ford is a conservative.
Yeah, that's right. Crack smoking, his brother. Cindy Melnick, she says, Albertan here, couldn't agree more. Our CTV and CBC never show the whole truth. We are blessed to have her. I'm not sure if this is your first time here, Cindy. I don't really recognize the name, but thank you for your comment. Hopefully you stick around. It actually reminds me, guys, if you are listening here for the first time and you like what you see, remember to like that smash that like button, and subscribe to the channel. And if you really appreciate the show, if you really like what we do here and you want to be part of the community, you can support us through the YouTube. It should just be right on your screen there, for the low price of $2.99 a month, and that supports us as independent media. It will give you access to the Discord server, and you get to be part of the community here. With that little spiel out of the way, Cindy, hopefully you stick around, and thanks for the comment.
Just before you skip to the next one, though, the thing to mention, Cindy, is that I'm from Quebec. I live in Montreal. I spent half my time in the US. Rob is from the East Coast. We just want to address Albertan sovereign movement because we know that mainstream media is not covering it the way it should be covered.
Yeah,
we have connections within the sovereign movement of Alberta, so we know what's going on behind the scene. We just know how important it is to speak about Alberta in a way that needs to be spoken about. Because as much as we're not from Alberta, if I'm to stay in Canada, that's the only province I could see myself staying. And my wife and I, we didn't even need to have the conversation. She approached me about a month ago or 2 months ago. She's like, if we do end up staying in Canada, we're moving to Alberta, right?
I might end up there myself, to be honest.
I'm like, yeah, that's the only place I can see myself living. So, thanks for being here, but that's the whole point. We want just to present information in a way that is not covered the way mainstream media covers it, because they are so full of shit.
Well, yeah, we and the night the election was held, me and Nico both, we realized this was going to be the biggest story in Canadian politics for the next year or two, and we also knew the media was not going to cover it appropriately. So we've committed to doing that. Also, we're just fans of Danielle Smith. If you are new and you're not sure of the format, I'm a liberal, a common sense liberal. There are some of us still out there. Nico's a conservative. This space is a place for us to discuss the topics of the day. Find common ground where we can, disagree respectfully where we can't, and we do disagree on a lot. We find common ground a lot, but one thing we both really just like Danielle Smith, and it isn't even necessarily about policies. I don't think for either of us. She just seems like the kind of person you could, install as your leader and go to sleep for 4 years, and it'll probably be pretty much okay when you wake up. And there aren't that many politicians you can say that about these days. Yeah, Cyril Arnold. Danielle Smith is not a libertarian. She's a federalist conservative. I think that's probably a reasonable...
Explain that one to me, please, if you don't mind. I'm not going to assume I know your definition, but give me a definition of the different, you don't need to give me a definition of libertarian. I think no, you know what? Give me a definition of both. I want to see where you stand, because to me, the way she talks, she sounds like a libertarian to me.
Is she?
But a federalist conservative, I can't say that I know. There's so many nuances on everything.
Yeah. I mean, and everybody, we all kind of like it might not even all be talking about the same thing. I don't know. To me, federalist conservative seems just sort of like common sense, establishment conservative, more of like an old school conservative from another time. I would be interested to see the specific differences between libertarian and federalist conservative. If you want to drop that in there, Cyril, we'll get back to it.
Yeah, because from what I see, it's not what I would not describe her, because it used to be a historical federal party active in the late 18th or 19th century, was a conservative party advocating for a strong central government and close ties to Great Britain. I don't see her being like that. But again, maybe it has changed over the years, but all to say that to me, she's pretty centrist to me, which libertarians are right smack in somewhere in the middle. So
yeah. You want to hit the next topic, because we got half
yes,
hour
sir.
Shows up.
Yeah, Jason shows up, but we're going to cover 3 topics with him. So
okay, cool.
Well, we'll try to do 3, because I got 2 with RFK. And I got 1 with New York, but our next topic was Marx Carney.
All right.
He was asked, a couple questions during NATO. This is one of them. It's just, let me load it up on here. It's very, if you understand psychology, you start to realize that he's very uncomfortable. I'm surprised that he didn't ask the reporter to look within himself.
Yeah, it was that vibe, right? To look within yourself. Like, just he rolls his eyes. He does not like to be questioned. He clearly feels he is above accountability, and he doesn't want to have to answer the peasants' questions, right? He's above all that shit.
Yep. Is my camera frozen right now? Oh yeah, my camera's frozen. Oh well, hopefully it comes back.
Yeah, your audio's fine.
No, that's fine. Whatever. Nobody needs to see me. I got the video right here. It should come back at one point. Here is the video. So obviously we don't know who the reporter is, but he ain't Canadian. He has a massive accent. And not a Frenchy accent like mine, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But here you go. Here is Marx Carney answering a very simple question. How are Canadians going to afford all the money that you're spending right now, or that you're planning on spending?
A very reasonable question.
Well, yeah, of course it is.
Thank you. My other question, I'll try and be fast, is like
question 4.
About the commitment to hundreds of billions of dollars cumulatively you've made today. The parliamentary budget officer told us that implies high deficits unless you either raise taxes or cut major projects, social spending. So do you agree with him? And if so, how high a net debt to GDP ratio are you willing to run?
Man, this is not.
We'll grow this economy. We'll grow this economy. We'll balance our operational budget in 3 years. That's our commitment. But we will also invest in this country, including in our defense industry. Thank you.
That doesn't answer the question. That sounds like the tax cuts will pay for themselves.
Thank you. My other question, I'll try and be fast.
But it's always the same thing, right? You want to take some comments? I'll just come out. I'll just go out and come back in, because I think it's just
I think it'll be back in. Yeah, I'll take a couple. So as Robin says, the eye roll. There's a lot of deception he's coming for. I mean, as Robin says, massive spending, no accountability. I mean, that's a pretty boilerplate question that any leader is going to ask when they've just come out with a large new spending program. And I'm kind of shocked he didn't have a better answer. For him to just immediately do this eye roll and then as if he can't be bothered, like, that's a very reasonable question. Anybody, a fucking 6-year-old could have told you a reporter was going to ask that question. Why did he not have a better answer? Like, it's like he doesn't even respect us enough to even a bullshit, make it like, some bullshit answer that we know is not true. He didn't even bother with that. He just rolled his eyes and said, basically, I don't know you peasants anything. I don't have to answer any of your questions, is essentially what he's saying to us. And it's a very valid question, man. What, you're going to spend all this money. There's only two ways that can get paid for. One, you raise taxes, or B, you cut spending somewhere else. So which is it? And he didn't answer at all. He essentially said, oh, my economy is going to be so good that we won't have to do either. But that's not living in reality. I thought I thought the one thing we were going to get with Marx Carney was at least competence. At least he's this economic genius, isn't he? Where the hell is that? He can't even do a budget, and this guy's an economic genius.
Just look at. Tell me that does not sound or remind you of Trudeau saying that the budget's going to balance itself.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it sounds like.
Just look, like I removed the sound. Just look at his mannerisms. Like he's going to smile very awkwardly first, and then he's just like, hold on. Let me see if I can just drag it around. See, there you go. See what I mean?
Like, fucking Cheshire cat there.
Just look at the mannerism. Like,
how dare you?
Do you recognize this? That was like, look within yourself.
Yeah, look within yourself, Rosemary. They say, how dare you?
This one, like, no, not answering the question, and this. That means I'm not sure. If you look at psychology,
got the middle finger up there.
Do you remember in Seinfeld? They have a full episode on this, like, if you can tell how the relationship of someone is going based on how high they touch their faces. So you're like, oh no, everything's great. Yeah, it's okay. It's all good. Oh, I gotta get out. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
This is the same thing. Like, you look at him and he is not comfortable being questioned. He does not want to be questioned. You read his book and you understand why, because he does believe that he's smarter than everybody else.
Yeah.
He believes that what he says is 100%. So again, solid question from the reporter. Very fucking common sense. Hey, you're talking about spending, because remember, the new going to 2% GDP for NATO is going to cost an extra $9.3 billion, which will bring our defense spending to around 63, let's call it $65 billion for sake of argument. And if we do what Trump wants us to do, we're talking at $150 billion to $155 billion. He just gave he just promised $4.3 billion to Ukraine. He just signed a security agreement with European countries. Like, he is spending right, left, and fucking center. And yet, how are we supposed to pay for this? We've said this before, and I will say it again. My baby boomers are going to be pissed off, because there has to be an equity tax coming from somewhere. There has to be a tax coming from somewhere. Can you really tax Canadian more, considering the averages I was seeing the other day was 43%? Of Canadians' income is spent on tax, either income tax, sales tax, gas tax, climate change tax, whatever the fuck you want to call it.
Yeah,
43%, and I think I'm low. That estimate is low. 43 fucking percent.
That's wild, man.
Every single order you make, you have to give half of it to Ottawa.
That's insane. I think. I think you're right. He just doesn't. He believes he's above it all. He doesn't owe us any explanations, but that's not. You do. If you take the job of prime minister, that comes with a spotlight. It comes with accountability. You're not going to be able to just. Well, maybe he will if the media let him get away with it, but that's not the way it's supposed to be. The fact is, that's an extremely reasonable question. How the fuck are you going to pay for all this? I want to know too. And that he did not at all answer that. And in fact, the way he answered it made it seem like he was hiding something.
And you know that, and that's the thing. Keep in mind, last time we saw someone in Canada questioning him, Rosemary. She
Mhm.
hasn't questioned him once ever since she's been funneling the liberal balls. Like, she's not questioning anymore. So
I think she got called down to the principal's office after that.
of course she did, but then this is obviously somebody that has a British accent that was asking the question.
Yeah.
I don't know who it was, but it's not even our own reporters that are asking those questions, and those are not even hard questions. Those are pretty fucking. This is a question that every single Canadian should be asking themselves: how the fuck are we gonna pay for all this shit?
Yeah. As Robin says, he says, interesting when the reporter says Canadians want to know. Yeah, like the way he said it, like, oh, interesting. Like, it actually was interesting. I want to know. I think a lot of Canadians want to know how you're going to pay for this.
How dare you?
Cyril, that's a great comment. Carney is governing the way EU leaders do. They do not owe the people any explanation. To them, the people are simply tax-paying serfs with no say. They literally say they don't care. Yeah, I mean, that clearly, over in America, they kind of invented that whole accountable government and direct democracy. Or maybe they didn't invent it, but they basically had a new system there compared to the rest of the European powers, and they've begrudgingly sort of joined in. But you're right. They never really, over in Europe, they never really got away from the nobility and the aristocrats, and now they're elected elites, but they still believe that the serfs and peasants don't really have a say, and they will not be questioned by them. And Carney does seem very much in that same mold.
Perfect segue. I fucking love when you guys just feed me like this, because
yes,
I got another video I wanted to show you guys, and basically what the question was is, do you plan on Canada joining the EU? So thank you very much for feeding me those videos, but here you go. Here's Mark Carney trying to tell us that we're not going to join the EU.
The follow-up question is more of a reflection on the trip and what you hope to accomplish overall here. You said the other day that Canada is the most European of non-European countries. You came here to sign a security and defense partnership. Serious question. Is there any way, or have you given any thought to possibly trying to chart a path to joining the European Union? Obviously, it's a geographical series of countries, but they also share a philosophy about how to arrange society and how to treat individuals.
Interesting, yeah?
And they share a lot of values with us. So is that door completely closed to us? Or is there anything like being an observer or something that we can get to? Because I have to say that question comes up a lot in talking to Canadians these days.
Really?
Interesting.
Again,
I haven't heard it expressed to me by Canadians, or many Canadians. So the short answer is no. That's not the intent. That's not the pathway we're on. But much of what you said in your question, I would subscribe to, which is that most European and non-European nations. It's not necessarily a comment about the
obsession with Europe,
historical makeup of the country, but it's the relative value set, the value on liberty, the value on democracy, the importance of solidarity. We have similar social welfare systems. The importance.
Wrong. So did you hear the word he just said? The expression that he just said, we have very similar social welfare. Excuse me, motherfucker? Yes, of course we have social welfare because we accept anybody to show up and give them social services. You're absolutely right, just like France and UK has been doing, and look at how well this is working for their country. But so he literally said social welfare. Does that sound like a Canadian value? He's trying to say this like one of our values is social welfare. Oh, really? So at least you're being honest, asshole.
Yeah. I wouldn't really say one of our values are welfare. I mean, that's I don't know. I would say it like that.
But listen to this. I'm just going to rewind it just a bit, because one of our he's talking about how our values are similar to Europe, and it is true that a lot of European countries have social welfares. You see at who's taking advantage of it, but he's trying to tell us that this is one of our strengths.
Of solidarity, we have similar social welfare systems. The importance we put on sustainability, our ability to mutualize, in other words, to work with others.
That's stupid.
Rules-based system, which
that's your explanation for why we're so close to them. Oh, we have similar welfare systems. Like, what the fuck? Like, that's retarded.
That sounds like such a good sales pitch. Huh? Come invest your money in Canada so that we can fund their social welfare.
Yeah.
That is.
We've got a European welfare system. Like, what? Tell you who's not going to come? People with money. Or a bunch of poor people will come. They like that. But
Hold
yeah,
on,
that's
let's finish the video before you go on a rant.
But it's not immaterial, and we're helping to build that with Europe. And the way we see it, if I could frame it, final comment, and this could be a bigger discussion at the right point. Europe, part of what Europe is focused on as members of the European Union is a so-called ever closer union. We're looking for a closer partnership with that union. So yes, we cooperate much more clearly and broadly to our mutual benefit, but not as a member, but along that continuum. That starts.
Talk about not answering the fucking question.
I mean, I'm starting to see a theme here. This guy never answers a question. He just either goes off on some stupid, virtue signaling rant, or he just, looks inside yourself, Rosemary, just shuts everything down. I don't know, man. This is so far. I mean, I was open-minded for Carney. I mean, I don't. You clearly, you let your opinion of him very well known from the very first day. I was a little more open-minded. I gave him a shot. He's not. I didn't have any high hopes or anything, and he is not doing anything to make me think I was wrong. But this seems to be the trend that's appearing now. This guy doesn't answer any questions. There's no accountability. He thinks he's if not a dictator, at least a king. Talk about no kings. We need those protests here in Canada.
Man, I don't see how. I don't understand how somebody that voted for him is actually happy about the way he's handling things. I don't get it. I really don't understand it.
I wonder what are his approval ratings?
Yeah, of course, from the same the approval rating that comes from CBC and CTV.
Well, yeah, but at least
sure,
just
cool
see what
story,
they're saying.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, they're probably not.
How can you agree with the fact that he's trying to convince us that we're more like Europe than we are Americans?
Because of welfare? That's so stupid. That's really stupid.
No, but forget the whole welfare part. How are we more like Europeans than we are like Americans? Do people forget that 400 years ago, 200 years ago, people showed up here with no infrastructure? There was nothing here. We had to survive the harsh fucking winters of Canada. Do you think their little European aristocrats are the ones that survived here? Fuck no. That's the thing. Like, we're not made from the same mold as Europeans. We don't have the same policies as Europeans. We don't think the same way as Europeans. Why?
No.
How are people believing this bullshit? Because you don't like Donald Trump? We're not like Americans? Like, Donald Trump is what? The representation of the average American now? He's not. He's definitely not. He'll be gone in 3.5 years, and guess what? Americans will still be there. Can we be honest here? That dude does not represent. We're not Europeans. We're a lot closer to Americans than we are Europe.
Yeah, and that's, you can talk about like policies and governments all you want. Just sit down with an American and sit down with a European, or you're going to find far more in common with the American. Like, by far, just our culture is far more Americanized than Europeanized. It's trendy to like hate the US, right? It's trendy to like just say, "Oh, we're not like them. We're like Europe," but it's nonsense. You put an American Canadian room, and they'd be far more similar than the average American, and the average Canadian, the average European.
Agreed, man.
The wise guy has a good comment.
Bumpy, sorry. This is exactly what I'm thinking. A European is just a Canadian, but gay.
Yeah.
One of my best friend is French, and I tell him that I've told him that so many times. You just sound gay, bro. Like your French sounds gay. The same way as you compare an American to a British person. Yeah. Their English in Great Britain sounds gay. You assume that they like to fuck men on weekends, right?
Yeah, it definitely has.
That's what I say.
Yeah. It definitely has that. That's a funny. That's a funny comment there by Bumpy. But I mean, I've always thought that about French people, anyways. Like in the army, there's obviously a lot of Quebecers, and they're always a little bit gay. They're always the ones who are like, after we do like PT or something, or after we go on a run, they're the ones who are like wrestling around in their underwear with each other and shit. And I don't know, man. It's something. Frenchies are always a little gay.
I don't know the type of Frenchies man, but
the army Frenchies. Frenchies.
Hey. Yeah. I'm not sure we agree on that one, but I thought we wrestle naked here. We don't have underwear. What the fuck's wrong with you?
Yeah. I mean, it's a safety issue. Underwear can get caught, you can get strangled. We got to be naked. All right. Do we got one more? Are we squeeze in for 10 minutes, or do you think?
Oh no. We got some time. There is, there's 3 subjects I wanted to cover with Jason. There's the, we have a longer video. You give me a choice. I'll give you a choice, or you give me an answer. I got something about RFK saying that he just froze U.S. funding to Gavi. It's a group co-funded by Bill Gates about whoops. Or I got a video about RFK saying that he wants, let's take this one because it's shorter. And I know that Jason is good at working around the whoops. Yep. So I don't need to be very careful with him. So let me just load a video of RFK. He said that, I believe that was on Monday. And, I agree with a lot of things that he does, but this one, absolutely fucking not. Him and I could not be more. And I think that we've spoken about this. And as someone that's a conspiracy theorist, I look at this and I'm like, I know where this is going. So here is RFK saying that he wants every American to wear a wearable within the next 4 years.
What does he mean here? Did he just mean like a?
Well, if you shut the hell up for a minute, I'll let you'll see. It's 22 seconds long. Can you make it 22 seconds?
No, I can't. I cannot wait 30 seconds. Go ahead.
Diet, about their physical activity, about the way that they live their lives. We think that wearables are a key to the MAHA agenda, making America healthy again. And we are going to, my vision is that every American is wearing a wearable within 4 years. Thank
you. Yeah, no. How about no? Like, fuck no.
So, I mean, is he talking about like an Apple Watch or something?
Okay. Those are what wearables are. It's something that monitors your health.
Yeah, that I don't. What does he mean? Like, would it be a rule? Would it be enforced? Are they going to give wearables to everyone? Or are they going to will you be fined if you don't wear a wearable so the government can assess your habits and see how healthy you are? I don't know. The government doesn't need to do this. Put the Health and Human Services. Your job is to put out accurate information about for people, so people who want to go out of their way to look it up can find it. We don't need you to be proactive. We don't need you to be chasing us down and you forgot your wearable, put your wearable on. I don't need the government knowing my heart rate because, even if you don't want to go into some sinister shit, you could have easily imagined corporations buying that shit. And now all of a sudden my health insurance has just gone up 400% because my blood pressure's too high or something, right? Like, fuck that shit. I don't want it.
It's not only that, but those wearables track you. So
Yeah.
what's next? They have your cell phones that they can track you wherever you go.
Mhm.
Now they have a wearable that tells them your heartbeat, that tells them your pressure, that tells them a lot of private information. And what do they do? Why do they need that information? Because this is the
Yeah.
question. Why do you need it? You know what? You want to do that? Okay, cool. Why? Please explain to me, what is the reasoning behind you needing the telemetry that is provided by wearables? Please explain that one to me.
Yeah. I'm kind of curious. Why indeed? Why would they like what is the point? I mean, I assume it's something to do with health. Like, are you going to start nagging people and emailing them? Oh, you didn't get your 10,000 steps yesterday. You didn't do this. You know, your heart rate was pretty low all day. Like, what is that? That feels pretty Big Brotherish to me.
So here, do you know CNET? CNET.com. It's a tech company. Like, it's a
Yep.
tech website that tests a lot of equipment, right? They
Yeah.
even spoke about this. They released an article 18 hours ago. And basically one of the quotes here from RFK, we think that wearables are keys to the Maha agenda, making America healthy again. Kennedy told the subcommittee on health during his budget meeting, my vision is that every American is wearing a wearable. Within 4 years, they can see what food is doing to their glucose level, their heart rate, and a number of other metrics as they eat it. This is he is literally saying, that was not part of the video, but obviously it was coming right after. He wants Americans to track how their body's responding to their foods. How long do you think that's going to take before they tell you which foods you can and cannot eat? How long is it going to take before they start showing you that bugs are good for you? And you know what? Red meat is not so good for you. Eggs are not good for you. Chicken's not good for you. All those things are not good for you. Look at what it's doing to your levels, yet they won't explain to you that it's pretty normal for your glucose level to go up after you eat. The problem is not your glucose level going up after you eat, is how far does it take to come back down. That's what's important. But you know, to me, it sounds like they're going to sell that as a good thing. But remember what they invested in mRNA technology that's based on AI to have cancer treatment done based on AI. So they're basically asking for your DNA in order to have a custom treatment, cancer treatment based on AI and based on mRNA technology. Then they want you to wear a wearable. You know, that doesn't sound like freedom to me. Just saying. If you're going to tell me that this sounds like socialist bullshit, have you read 1984 by George Orwell?
No, I actually haven't. But I mean, I'm very familiar with the.
But you need to wear it. But one of the parts in the book is they have screens in people's apartments and people's lodging that forces you, that will wake you up in the morning to exercise. And they look at you and they're like, oh, you're not doing it hard enough. You're not doing it hard enough. As much as I agree that people need to be healthier, considering that 40% of Americans are obese, this is tracking people is not the way to do it.
No. It's the wrong solution for an actual problem.
Now, giving people incentives to do it. You know, remember Trump saying, "Oh, we'll give tax breaks for babies if you're giving birth, if you're above the two people, like the 2 kids per family, we'll give you extra incentives to do it, as in tax breaks."
Yeah, I think. Sorry, go ahead.
No, we'll just bring in Jason. What's going on, motherfucker?
Oh, brother, what's happening?
Mr. Jason, what's going on?
Sorry, guys.
Oh.
Okay. You're out. Okay, bye. Okay, bye. He's out.
That's my.
He's back. Are you ready now? You ready?
He's treating us like Mark Carney treats media who ask him questions he's not interested in.
I'm
not answering those questions.
early, guys.
Yeah. What's up, brother?
How many times have your wife told you that?
How many times?
Yeah.
Let's see.
No.
He's got 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Okay. 15 seconds. 15 seconds.
There you go. I mean, yeah. Give me some credit.
What's going on, brother? What is going on? It's been a while, man.
Yeah, I've been. I for a guy who hates flying, man. I'm all over the place.
Where you been flying to lately?
Just got back from Honolulu,
Ooh.
Hawaii. I was calling center court for the 18 and under World Championship, which is like code for Hawaii versus the world. It's really fun tournament.
That's
Yeah.
cool. That's really
Going
cool.
to Wisconsin Saturday, going to New York in July, and then Seaside, and then Aspen, Colorado. That place in the United States where the billionaires kick out the millionaires.
Is that is this all for volleyball, or is it some of this on vacation, or what?
Yeah, well, New York's a vacation, Wisconsin's a vacation, everything else is volleyball, and I'm really happy to be traveling, getting these opportunities. You know, Nico
Nice.
and I have known each other for a minute, so he's witnessed my roller coaster ride, so I'm sure he's happy for me too.
Nice.
I don't give a fuck. I'm tired of this bullshit talk. Let's just get into it.
Let's get
I
into
know,
it.
bro. I'm
Bigger fish to
all
fry,
the-
right?
all the success to you, brother. All the success, because having a sugar mama is not enough. You need to be successful on your own.
Yeah, you got to have meaning and purpose. Meaning and purpose.
Sugar mamas are older and uglier. She's younger
Yes.
and prettier.
Ah, nice.
So
What would
she's
that-
a sugar. She's a sugar tween.
She's a
Oh, that sounds so bad when I say it. Damn, that does not sound good.
Look, they're taking over, Nico, right? Come on, man. In 5 years, we won't exist anymore except in a fucking zoo. So the girl's gonna be like, look, a man.
Yeah.
I was going to take this comment right quick before we get into it with Jason.
No,
We're just talking about.
Man, I had one on the screen. You can.
Oh,
fucking
sorry.
wait.
Go
This
ahead.
one is for Jason. At the Political Orphans, I never expected to see Jason C.
Oh, no
here.
way.
I know him from the Sabi Sab show. Hello. Well, brother, he joins us every now and then. He's too good for us now. Like he too fancy. He has to go to Honolulu to play with balls. So,
Jason was
you know.
pretty much one of our first viewers. And in fact, funny bit of lore about the show here. When we started it, remember it was called The Silent Middle. And I don't think either of us were happy with it. And then Jason, in we were doing a stream, and he commented, he was like, "You guys should call yourself the politically homeless," he said. And that was taken. And then so we were like, "Oh, that's a good idea," though. When we landed on Orphans. So Jason is an integral part of the foundation of this show.
Yeah. And the Sabi Sab show, guys, if you ever want the truth, just the truth laid out, that's unfiltered. They're not paid by anybody. She doesn't have any sponsors. You know, I mean, look, these socialists could be a little fucking judgy, but sometimes you need to go. You're right. Sometimes if you want the truth, you need to go to the right people, and this is why I'm here on Political Orphans, man. You know, we're always going to be. You guys want to get it right and not be right, and I'm always going to respect that, and I'm always going to be on that show for that.
That's right. I think this topic we're going to talk about today, I'm very interested. I'm kind of very curious to see how you feel about what we're going to talk about.
How you feel about what we're going to talk about?
Well, specifically
Thank you, Rob,
about
for being yourself.
About Zoltan. Why the fuck can't I get that guy's name? Mamdani.
Zoltan.
Zoltan.
Don't mess with the Zohan.
Yes. I keep
but
thinking that. I keep thinking that.
Hold on. So you guys suck. You don't know what I'm talking about, do you? It's what I'm doing here is from Dude, Where's My Car? And he's the leader of a cult. And they're like, Zoltan. Every time I see that guy, all I can think of is, that sign is coming. He's going to start doing this. Like, hey, guys, Zoltan. They're all going to wear an aluminum suit. So, Zoltan.
Dude, Where's My Car? Yeah.
Man, this is a classic movie. They can't make movies like this anymore. That's not legal.
What's mine say? Dude. What's mine say? Oh, fuck. Who was it? Ashton Kutcher and that guy.
Sean.
Stifler from American Pie.
Oh,
but, I forget his name. Anyways,
Sean William Scott.
Yeah, right. You're right.
See, this is what I'm talking about. I'm just gonna show a picture really fast so that people don't think I'm making shit up. There you go. This is what I'm talking about. Right here. Oh, sorry. Right here. Bam, bam. Right here. That's the right there. Zoltan.
Infamous Zoltan.
This is what I see happening with this guy. But I know you have videos. You want to play a video of the new Democrat. It blows my mind that the new Democrat primary winner is a communist. I don't know if a communist, a socialist.
Well, I think he calls himself a socialist, I believe.
Yeah, so there you go. Let's call him. We'll give him his own wording, but is a socialist. Do you have a video? Do you have a video? Yeah, I know you.
Well, yeah. I mean, I've got some. Jason, were you talking to me or Jason?
You.
Okay, so yeah, I'll get us started here. So what I was, because me and Nico were talking before the show, and Jason, I'd like to hear your input. But just for some context here, I don't necessarily, or I mean, not even don't necessarily. I don't agree with his policies. I think a lot of them seem just crazy. But one thing that really stood out to me was this guy has that it factor, man. This guy has that, like, he is a, you know, the Barack Obama sort of that thing. I don't know. I'm going to show you a speech, and it's just, you know, I remember, Nico, you had said a while back, you said a few times how, like, you know, you obviously don't agree with Obama's politics. You're like, but this guy is a great orator. So this is the first clip I'll play is just him speaking. It's about a minute and a half. And I was like, oh man, this guy could be dangerous if he sort of moderates his policies a little bit. Like, this guy could be, I mean, fuck, I could see him running on the presidential ticket for the Democratic Party.
It's not an American citizen. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, I guess
that's true.
So there,
yeah,
yeah. So put away that. But this is just the context. Just we'll start with that, and then we'll dive into all the particulars.
And so, to quote the words of a famous New Yorker, allow me to reintroduce myself. Wow. I was born in Kampala, Uganda, in East Africa. I was given my middle name Kwame by my father, who named me after the first prime minister of Ghana. And decades ago, in Uganda, we won our independence from the British in 1962. We can clap for that. And when we did, the United States government gave the Ugandan government 23 scholarships as a gift for independence. And my father won one of those scholarships. He came to this country to study to be an engineer at the University of Pittsburgh. And sometime into his studies, his face buried in his book, he heard the words reverberate in the corridor around him, "Which side are you on? Which side are you on?" These were words being sung by members of SNCC, the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, recruiting students to get on the bus to go to Montgomery, Alabama. And my father got on that bus. He marched. He was hosed down. He was thrown in jail. He was given one phone call. And he called the Ugandan ambassador to the United States. He said, "Can you get me out of jail?" The ambassador said, "What are you doing in jail? We sent you there to study." My father said, "You sent me here as a gift for our freedom. They are fighting for theirs. It's one and the same." And so I was raised with this understanding that freedom and the fight for it is interconnected. And as I look across this city today, I am reminded that freedom is only worth as much as our ability to exercise it. Because we hear politicians of the past come on stages across this city, including this one, saying that they believe this is the greatest city in the world. But they do not answer the question that Dr. King posed decades ago. What good is having the right to sit at a lunch counter if you can't afford to buy a hamburger? What good is being the greatest city in the world if New Yorkers can't afford to live here? What good is it if our own people cannot afford their rent, their childcare, their groceries, even $2.90 for their Metro card? What good is that but making a museum of what once was in the city that we love?
He's a well-spoken individual.
He is. He's got that it factor, and if he focuses, I like that secret sauce or whatever, he could go pretty far. I think you know, there's a lot of talk, you know, on the right, like, oh, he's a commie. He very well might be, but he's not a kook.
That's their thing.
He's not a kook, and I think the right will do is if they underestimate him, they might regret it, because he's got something that will appeal to people. He's even got that backstory. Americans love that, that origin story like that in their politicians. Like he checks a lot of boxes, man. And I don't know. I found it like it grabs you. And now I don't agree with his policies, at least the ones I've seen. But he's not just some kooky, wacky, commie local politician. He, like, to me, I look at that and I see the real deal. I'm just talking about just the charisma of the guy, just his ability to speak and reach an audience. I'm not talking anything about his policies. We'll discuss that here in a minute. But I just mean impressions of him speaking. I thought he's got it.
Before I let you answer, give us your opinion as a New Yorker. All I'm going to say is, if you pay attention to what he said, his father came here on a scholarship and protested and got arrested for it. You know how I feel about this. I am absolutely tired. Yeah, that's what he said. That's what I heard. Correct me if I'm wrong, but
No,
he said his father was
in the United States. He was a professor somewhere else that got him arrested. It wasn't in the U.S.
Are you sure about that? Because he was talking about being in the States here, because he asked the Ugandan U.S. consulate to help him out. So that means he was in the U.S.
Right.
My point is that we've spoken about this before. I'm fucking tired of seeing immigrants, especially people on student visas, come to Canada to fucking protest. You're here to study. Shut the fuck up and go study. Those are not the type of person I want in Canada. And as somebody that spends a lot of my time in the US, I will never disrespect Americans. Like, I'm not going to America in order to protest. I'm not there for that. I'm there as a visitor, and I'm not going to put my fucking feet on the couch. I'm going to have respect for another country's furniture. And I'm tired of seeing fucking student activists coming in Canada, coming in the US, and fucking shit up. Jason, all you, bro.
You're speaking as a Canadian, and I appreciate and respect that. And I have a newfound respect for you too, because all of the things that are happening in Canada, the way you guys don't treat your own is ridiculous. And if Americans ever saw that, we'd put America first so fast in this country, everybody's fucking heads would spin. So I got to go on your side on that one. All right, now it's my turn to tell you a fucking new one. For everybody watching at home, the term non sequitur is when you have two facts and they're both factual, but they're not logically connected. And that's exactly what Nico did right here. All right. When he did not come to this country to protest against America. He did not come to this country to say, fuck America. America can go to hell. You're going to this country and you're protesting against violence from another country. I think is something that Americans and immigrants can get on board. And this is where the triggering comes from. And it was my argument about Khalil the whole time. It wasn't like an anti-U.S. protest, unless you think this place is. I have a map of the United States of America, and I want you to find me Israel on that map, and I'll shut the fuck up. All right. So with that being said, I want to talk about this guy. This guy's Ugandan born, right? I'm gonna tease him a little bit, and you guys are gonna laugh at this. He's kind of a despondent trust fund baby, right? He's the child of a professor.
Sounds like it.
And as a New Yorker, and it's great to have the lived experience here. There's a high school in New York called High School of Bronx Science of. High School of Bronx Science. Bronx High School of Science. It is a top 50 high school in the country, and for many years it was number 1 in the country in math and science. And it's a public school, but anyone that lives in New York knows you don't just get in that school. You have to be an academic. In fact, the principal couldn't even get his kids in that school. All right, the principal. I mean, it's so and this kid gets in that school, and when you're there, that's the pipeline to all the Ivy League universities. That's the pipeline of this. Not this fucking kid. He goes to this fucking it's called Boudin College in Maine or something like that, and he gets his degree in African studies. So when you get a degree like that, and when you have the keys to the world, it's kind of like I'm not using my brain for a higher purpose. I'm using it. You wind up in New York and you wind up fighting for tenants who are getting evicted. You wind up for people. Some of the community work when he won his assembly seat was exactly like his kind of work. But something triggered this man, I think in 2019 or 2021, is like, wait, I kind of can do this, right? Now, Rob, I don't see this man becoming president. I mean, he's not an American citizen. So
well, yeah, I didn't realize that part.
But there are some peoples whose functionality serves better as mayor than president, right? Bloomberg was one of our best mayors who ran as a Republican twice and as an independent, never as a Democrat, even though he's pretty much a Democrat, right? And there's something about the way this guy is igniting the city, which is exactly what people from urban areas have desperately sought. The Democrats let them down. You have Joe Biden, who's a vegetable, who's being puppeteered. Trump, in many ways, let people down, at least let me down in the sense I'm a free speech guy and I'm an anti-war guy. And here we are balls deep in it for the sake of one fucking country who likes to fight for it, who starts fights with everybody else and then hides behind their big brother, you know? So I'm going on for a little bit and I'm really sorry, but I'd like to land by saying winning the Democratic primary without a Republican with star power on the other end.
Does that mean he's basically going to be the mayor? Do you believe?
I think Adams is vulnerable, but the lurking variable is that if Cuomo decides to run as an independent and the votes are split 3 different ways, it's a coin flip.
Oh, I guess that's possible too, eh?
Right.
And I mean, I feel like we also like, I think, you know, like you said, it seems to have like taken New York by storm and blah blah blah. But like, let's not get too carried away here. He won a Democratic primary against a pretty establishment, old, creepy, probable sex pest or whatever. I don't really know the scandal there, so I'm just, saying that half tongue in cheek. I don't know if I'm not even going to comment on it. But the point is, it's not necessarily, this like massive upset. I think, I don't know. I think to me, when I said like he might be president, I could say I wasn't really thinking that one through. I just meant I was trying to convey that like he's got that thing, that it factor that politicians who do have it tend to go far if they want to. His policies, some of them, like I looked at his platform, and I'll bring that up here in a minute. It's all pretty typical. Actually, I'll do that right now, just so we can see what his actual policies are. It didn't seem super policy heavy, this campaign. It seemed pretty just charisma based. Just this guy, has a great story, obviously charismatic, outgoing, beautiful wife. I don't know if you saw her too, but I mean that, I think there's almost vibes of like, JFK with that, glamorous wife. And, in politics that counts for something. But a lot of the actual policies seemed a bit, all right, here, let me see here. I'll bring it up.
Before you go into it, because Jason kind of called me out earlier and I was polite enough to let him finish.
I appreciate that.
They are not false equivalency. It just shows the type of individual that they are. It just bothers me that people have no respect for the country that they're visiting, and we don't have the balls to do something about it. It bothers me because I come from the wokest city in Canada, with two of the biggest universities in Canada, and it's filled with foreign students. And every time I've seen those Free Palestine protests, it's always students. It's always international students, and it drives me absolutely fucking nuts because I'm not able to protest the way that they do, even if I would be protesting something that matters, like the lockdowns, for example, 3 years ago. We got in shit for protesting, yet they get to protest every fucking weekend. They destroy statues, they destroy public property. None of them ever get held responsible for their actions, and they're not even fucking Canadians. That pisses me off to no extent. This is what bothers me about what he said. He's praising it like it's a good thing. Sorry, bro, your father didn't have any respect. Not only did he get a free ride here, he didn't have the respect for the country that he was visiting. That's what bothers me. And then you see a guy I love how all the people that are preaching for socialist platform or socialist ideologies are all rich. They all come from money. Very fucking easy for you to say that, asshole, when you've never really lived in the gutter. That's what bothers me too. Like, I know history. I know what socialists policies do to a country, and it always comes from people that have money. They praise. They're going to try to sell you the story that they're doing it for you and I. They don't give a fuck about you and I. It's all about money. It's all about power. They just want the power. That's all it comes down to. That's all I'm saying. And if New Yorkers want to vote for them, you know what, bro? I hope they do. Because I'm tired of Canada being the, we got a guy that always shows up here saying that we're the most entertaining, how does he say it? We're the most entertaining show on TV right now. We're the most entertaining reality show on TV right now. And hopefully, if they vote for him in November, I'll get to watch New York City, the live show, and laugh my ass off as the one of the most known city in the world, probably top 5 most known city in the world, just fucking eats itself. I'll be laughing my ass off. So I almost hope that it happens just so I can laugh at New York. Sorry, bro.
Nice.
So
laughing at people's failures. That's the way to go, Nico.
Bro, you vote for it. At one point, Americans tell me on a daily basis that you voted for Carney. You voted for the bullshit that's been happening for 10 years. And as much as I did not vote for it, I understand where they're coming from. I don't want people to fail. I don't want people to be hurt. But at one point, if there's one thing that I know, the big difference between me and 99.9% of people out there is I've been in the gutter. I've been in places where I couldn't afford to live anywhere. I couldn't afford to heat my fucking place. I couldn't afford to eat anything else than rice and beans for months at a time. I've been there. I understand what guys like him, they're very charismatic, good-looking dudes. They're going to sell you a really great idea, but I understand what it does to people. So at the end of the day, do I want it to happen for New York? No, I don't, because it's already a mess. That place is already a fucking mess. I don't want it to get worse, but at the same time, if it does happen, I'll enjoy the show.
So here's basically
love you too, Jason.
I needed to give Rob a chance to respond.
I was just looking for. I just want to talk about his platform. Just a summary of it. We don't have to go into. That's a picture of his wife, by the way. But yeah, his mayoral platform is a rent freeze, free fare buses, 30-hour minimum wage, universal free childcare, public grocery stores, massive affordable housing. It's essentially just a giant grab bag of free stuff, and I mean. That's going to be really popular, especially in a Democratic primary. I mean, it is like it is, and that's why I mean. I don't even think. I think he's a smart guy. I don't even think he thinks that that's feasible or reasonable. I think he just knows that it sounds good in a primary. I think he knows that it's a charisma play. I think he knows if I can just get in front of the cameras, I will sway people. But, you know, I was kind of finding myself thinking, like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't agree with any of his policies. But I remember when Trump first got elected, and we talked about him a lot when January, February, when we were really going through Trump's actions day to day. And I was getting, a lot of heat because, I have a lot of left-wing and liberal followers who do watch the show, and I'll be like, well, why do you even, because if you guys remember, like, my take was like, however I feel about this guy, I'm just gonna memory hole it. I'm just gonna assess him on everything he does now. I said, one thing I know for sure is the status quo isn't working. The establishment isn't working, and so I'm willing to let a guy from outside the system. And I remember I got into it with Joe a little bit there because he was like, "Oh, Trump's part of the system," and I don't really think he is. He's certainly not part of the political establishment. And same as this. That's how I feel about this. Like, look, give him a shot. I think it'll, if he actually puts these policies in play, I think it'll be a disaster for New York City. But there's value in that too, because then you can, next time someone comes up and says, "Oh yeah, let's do all this," grab a bag of free stuff. You can be like, "Oh hey, remember that time Zohran did it there a couple years back, and the shit hit the fan." So either way, I'm just looking at it. I think it's great theater. I think it's great entertainment. It gives, certainly as content creators, it gives us something to talk about. But certainly it'll be interesting to see what he does with it.
You got 5 minutes, Jason. For the rest of the show is yours. Go for it.
Okay, guys, I have a question for you.
Sure.
What do you call someone that got the first uh vax, right? Got the
Yep.
second one, but didn't get the booster? What do you call that person? Anti-vax. Okay. What do you
Yeah.
call
Yeah.
someone that was compliant with the entire vaccine schedule, but didn't want to get the second booster? Anti-vax. Do you know why? Because the media said so. And what you guys are listening to is very, very weird. You guys clearly have an anti-woke or anti-socialist agenda. So you're not going to believe what the news says in anything except this shit, right? It's like Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan, like CNN lies, Fox lies, except when they make an accusation about Rogan, which we later on find out is true. And I don't know how many times people got to fall for the fucking okie doke. Nico, the reason why I sat silent on your diatribe of my take was because I already cited as a pretext. You came from Canada. You have a completely different lived experience. And if I were armed with the same information with you, I'd be mad as hell too. And I'd be like, fuck these socialists, fuck these woke motherfuckers. But we're talking about a city that raised the fucking transit fare to 14%, okay? For people who are going broke just traveling to work and back, right? And now they're traveling to work and back even further because supply and demand says they don't deserve to live within 45 minutes of where they work, right? And this guy is saying, hey, look, you push us out. These people are not going to commute from fucking Pennsylvania to be your doorman and to make your bagels, all right? You have to either give them a livable wage or at least give them some mode where they can actually function like a mammals. We got New York is the city of check to check. Okay, that happened under the Bloomberg administration. That happened under the Giuliani administration. That happened under how am I doing, Mayor fucking Crotch? Actually, his name is Koch, right? De Blasio was probably the worst mayor in the history of fucking New York City. And Eric Adams, who's actually publicity wise is getting a bad rep, but when you look at some of the full body of work he's doing, I actually like it, except the immigration thing. He's getting hammered, and as soon as he spoke out about that, the Democrats and Republicans want him out. So this is a guy I think that has a great shot of winning because he identifies with people who get up every day to go to work for the man. All right. And there are more voters that work for the man than the man himself. And the Democrats and Republicans will do their damnedest to make sure he said global intifada. Oh, he's this. Oh, look at it. He's wearing a fucking white dress looking like a terrorist. They are going, you watch, they are going to play this like a fucking fiddle. And if this guy gets elected, it's going to be great because very much like Trump that gave the establishment an F you, this is what the fucking people want. I'm not saying this guy should go to Canada. I'm not saying this guy should go to Hermosa Beach, but I think this guy just might be what New York City needs. And Wall Street speculation pays for the fucking transit fare. In fact, there's already an experimental phase where the crosstown buses, the buses that go from east to west, are free. Do you know why? Because if you have to wait online to pay your fare, it takes an entire traffic lane during rush hour traffic. Now you got 30 cars behind this person just to fucking go a half mile. You in New York, if you're on the wrong block, you can get stuck for 45 minutes to drive 6 blocks in the city that's one step away from becoming not marketable, which is something, the other reason why I shut the fuck up and let Nico talk. Nico's got some strong points, and I really like the drama and how we present ourselves. And I think I'd like to leave the last 60 seconds to you guys. I'm like you, but I'm just warning you. Let's not be intellectually lazy and categorize everything under communist and Marxist. Democratic socialism is about taking the elevator to the penthouse and remembering to push lobby and give other people opportunity to take the elevator up.
Coming from a guy that comes from money. Again, the type of guy that we're talking the type of guy that we're talking about here has never suffered.
Right.
It's the same guy. You know, that guy is like our old prime minister. So basically, just I'll take 60 seconds to just explain the fact that what you guys are looking at is what started happening to Canada 10 years ago when we elected a nihilist, when we elected a fucking twat of Trudeau that came in with all the free shit in the world too. Comes from a trust fund baby that's never had to work in his life.
Oh, we made one president. Give me a fucking break. We made one of those guys president of the United States.
I let you speak. I let you speak.
Yeah.
Let me speak. It does not need to go back to Trump. That's not a defense to say that we did it to Trump. No, we did it. I don't care. The point of the matter is that unlike us, you guys have it live what happens when you give in to people like him that have no idea what it is to actually suffer. We've been going through 10 years. You think that you're suffering right now in New York? Just look at the stats from Canada. 25% of Canadians right now cannot afford daily necessities like food. We are taxed at somewhere above 43%.
Federal
of all
tax,
our
right?
money
City tax
no,
or federal?
Everything
Got
as
it.
a whole, from the federal, the provincial, the municipal, they average that Canadians spend almost 50% of their income on tax because of social services and taxes on taxes on taxes. I understand that there's a need for certain social services, and as a conservative, I don't like it. But at the same time, you cannot tell me that the media made up the fact that he wants to defund the police, that he wants to give free shit to people.
lie.
Those are his posts. I took them from his own line. That's from his fucking
Anyone with a
post.
Wikipedia search can tell you that he's explicit about not defunding the police.
He made
go on
posts
Wikipedia right
saying
now.
that,
There's a whole section about defunding the police.
bro, they're his own posts on his own social media platform. Am I to understand that those posts are fake?
I might understand. I
point-
never saw the fucking post. What are you talking about here? I mean,
I got it. I'm gonna
circumstances
find it.
that are not so given.
No, but the point of the matter is that you guys have the opportunity to avoid guys like him by looking at what's happening in Canada. Right now, we're so far down the hole that we have not seen people leaving Canada. And like, we have an exodus of Canadians right now that are leaving Canada to go somewhere else, something we've never seen since 1965 or 1967.
Right.
Because people cannot afford to live here anymore. It's just too fucking expensive and we're too taxed.
Yeah. Canada's
and nobody wants. Yeah, but that's how it started, is what I'm saying. Guys like him, the way he talks is how it started 10 years ago. That's my point.
You don't think New York City sees that coming? And Nico, look,
Obviously
I'm a guy
not.
that grew up in New
Obviously
York
not.
City, that slept on trains for fucking 6 months. Okay, I get my pockets cut by a guy with a fucking razor blade. Takes my wallet out, all the money. I'm working at McDonald's to try to get an apartment, right? And I fall asleep on the train at night because I'm sleeping on trains. I have nowhere to live. Someone takes a razor blade, cuts my pocket, takes my wallet right out of my pocket. So now I'm homeless for longer because I don't have money to get an apartment. So I understand the lived experience of not having anything. And as a New Yorker, it's exactly why there should be an appreciation from my lived experience. These guys, New Yorkers are up against it, right? And they've had mayors, all kinds of different mayors that tried it their way. Let's try it this way. And again, I don't devalue your lived experience in Canada because on a federal level, that it's superseding what's happening into your cities. There's a trickle-down effect. But New York City, as its own entity, can exist on its own if it has the right mayor. And we have Wall Street speculation there. We have all the biggest.
This is not I just want to correct you on one thing, then you can continue. It's not a federal thing. It's federal, provincial, and municipal. They all do the same thing. It's all
but the policies he's running on, Nico, have nothing to do with federal.
I don't think
hold on. Listen to what I'm telling you. The policies that he's running are ran on a federal level. They're ran on the provincial level and on the municipal level. In the province where I'm from, they're ran three different. They're literally federal, provincial, or state-wise for Americans, and municipal. Every single one of them are extremely socialist policies.
Extremely.
And who ends up paying? Well, fuck, man. All of our stuff is social. It's all social programs. I mean, and nobody has the money to pay for it. Why do you think we're taxed at almost half of our incomes?
Right.
I also feel that just the mayor of New York, just based on the role that they have and the powers they have, probably can't fuck you guys the way that the Prime Minister of Canada for 9 years could. Like, he can't, he doesn't have any say over. Mayor of New York doesn't have say over immigration policy, fiscal policy. I mean, it's a different job. It's hard to necessarily compare the two. But I mean, I'm of the type where, I just think I'm in a mindset lately in the past couple of years where it's less about exact labels and whatnot. If you're outside this, if you're going to try something different, I'm willing to give you a shot. At the end of the day, it's gonna, but you got to do it. You can't. If he wins on this platform, I want to see him fucking do it. Right. I don't want him to just say it.
There's that. Right? Can I say something on a global level?
Go ahead.
Do you remember when I said I was not happy Trump won, but I was ecstatic that Kamala Harris lost?
Yes.
Do you remember that?
It was a great comment.
I also want to cite as a pretext, and Nico, we have different political stances, right? He's a Second Amendment guy. I'm an anti-regime change war guy, but as a foundation, free speech in conjunction with the First American, at least in the United States, in conjunction with the First Amendment, I'm a free speech absolutist, okay? Trump ran on free speech, right? And he's arresting people off the fucking street for free speech, right? So I mean, I'm with you when I say I would like to see him carry out these policies because, again, as a New Yorker, free transit fare for the crosstown buses helps commerce. You keep traffic flowing. Trucks that have deliveries for restaurants for all these fucking rich people. People that take taxis to work, right? They're spending less because the taxi's not stuck in traffic for 2 blocks for 40 fucking minutes. So when you consider the dollar value and how everything kind of takes care of itself, I kind of co-sign with that. Only in terms of the bus. The train system, they need to have an infrastructure. And Nico knows that money's going to have to come from somewhere. And that's why I support Nico's argument, right? So for the train thing, which is underground, which is an infrastructure thing, it has to be able to pay for itself. But I will say this, when the fare went up 14%, New Yorkers knew where that fucking money went, right? That's fucking socialism in a very bad way. We know where that fucking money went. It lined up the pockets of rich, entitled fucking people who no one talks about. All of a sudden, this guy's running rich, entitled, socialist, Marxist. Man, miss me with that shit. And again, I don't really press that hard because your lived experience in Canada is something that I've always wanted to visit Canada. I'm not fucking visiting Canada after listening to the Political Orphans. I will only visit Canada if I get to go with Nico and Nico has a microphone on the street. So what do you think of fucking transgender athletes in sports? I'll be with Nico. I'll be right next to Nico on that one, And I guess to quote Forrest Gump, that's all I got to say about that.
Before we sign off here, and I'll give Nico if he wants to add anything to end. I just want to get your. Were you aware of this? And I want to get your take on it. This is the demographics of the people who voted. Did you see this? The black vote went for Cuomo plus 18.
Isn't that crazy? Because
that's insane.
In New York City, you win.
Well, yeah, and so check out this other demographic, which is
that's a better map. That's a better.
Yes. Okay. So same thing. Sorry. Median income right here. Lower income. Cuomo plus 13. Middle income. So basically, poor and black people voted for Cuomo, and rich white people voted for. I mean, obviously, I'm generalizing, of course, but that's an interesting. I don't even know what it means. I don't even have a commentary on it. I don't know.
Well, where do all the latte liberals live? They live in the big cities, right? The fucking Starbucks. What do you guys call them, Nico? Would you call them the latte liberals? They live predominantly. Look at the Manhattan Island. Everyone that can afford to live there is not making $18 an hour, right? You need an average of $52 an hour just to live there. All right. If you look at Manhattan, the northern part, wherever that color is, that's Harlem. That's above Central Park. So Harlem will be a different color because that's Cuomo got the black vote. Staten Island is 76% Republican. So they definitely don't want to view that. But Staten Island, I have one word to say about them: yuck. And Staten Island's so bad. Even the Grand Theft Auto game that had a New York City base game didn't even have Staten Island. They had Hoboken, New Jersey. So Brooklyn, Queens is the key. He's a representative of Queens, so he knew that he had that borough on lock. Brooklyn and Queens are geographically, you see, they're connected. They're not separate islands. The Manhattan Island's by itself. So the Bronx was heavy for Cuomo, but the Bronx is the least populated borough of the 5 boroughs. The borough with the highest dense population is Brooklyn and Queens, even though Manhattan, as tiny as it is a close third, right? Look at that. That should be voting by the square mile. Look at that fucking map, dude.
Those are wild numbers, though. I don't even know what to make of them, but no, it's certainly something to keep an eye on. It's another, he certainly is going to shake things up on the local scene. It would be really annoying if he makes all these promises and then gets in and doesn't put him in and just becomes a regular politician, which probably will be what happens.
You can't hide in New York City if you do that. It's too tiny. Mayor Adams gets harassed everywhere he goes. I think so too. I don't think he'll be able to, just because those are pretty bold promises. People are going to want to see action on them, but there's even if I personally think a lot of those policies will not work. I agree with them in principle. I think free childcare would be a great thing. It'd be a great thing for families. I just don't know that it's those kind of promises. Like, I can't remember last time a politician made those kind of promises, right? Are they
and actually kept them, right?
And that's Nico's gripe. Are they enforceable? Can they even be done? Is this guy a snake oil salesman, right? All of these are like, I push back a lot on this podcast, but I'm not going to push back on some of these things. There is the how, right? There is a how.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it'll be one way or another. If he puts policies in place, they'll sink or swim, and there's going to be value in it either way.
Look at Montreal.
Yeah, well,
look at what happened to Montreal. That's what's going to happen to New York. So it is. You know what? People want to try it. That's on them. But what happened in Montreal is what's going to happen, because we got a mayor that is very similar to this guy, preaches very similar things, and now commerce in Montreal downtown is pretty much dead. Everything, there's nowhere to park anymore, because all of our parkings have been transformed into bicycle lanes. Nobody's interested in going there anymore, and everybody's leaving. So it's basically a student town for foreigners is what Montreal has become. And we have some of the nicest infrastructure, like some of the nicest buildings in North America are right here in Montreal and in Quebec cities, because we're two of the oldest cities in North America. And yet nobody goes down there anymore because of the policies that were put in place. So at the same time, man, New York is fucked no matter what. They need to do something to fix it. If that's what they believe it is, that's fine by me. I don't live there, but I can tell you, man, as someone that had the chance to traveled a lot in my life, and I've traveled a lot in Canada and in the US.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the more liberal a city, the worse the crime is, the worse homelessness is, the worse it actually becomes. There needs to be a just middle as to what makes sense and what people can afford to pay for. But social services have a cost. And unfortunately, those guys never say where the money is going to come from. We had a prime minister for 10 years that told us that the budget would balance itself. And now we have an actual banker that still cannot produce a budget, has been spending billions upon billions upon billions of our taxpayers' money. They're sending it overseas to places it doesn't belong. And he still cannot explain how he's going to pay for it. So this is the truth. This is what New York is going to be facing with a guy like. No, but that's just the truth. This is, you can promise all the free shit that you want. The money needs to come from somewhere, and nobody's going to tell you where it comes from.
It comes from Wall Street speculation. New York has the money. Montreal does not. That's why I said this argument is non sequitur hell. There's very little. I'll be generous and say there's very little comparison to Montreal and New York. That's the most generous thing I'll say about that.
But that's it. But that's incorrect. The people the people are the ones that are going to get taxed. At the end of the day, you want to have social services. That means that citizens are going to pay for it. They're going to be taxed.
But
one way or another
in New York City already. A city college education in the 70s was free. All right. And they found a way to fucking pay for it before they started charging people for it. Now CUNY schools cost money and everyone's going to pretend, oh, if it's free, we have no idea where the money came from. No, it was free before that. Someone got fucking greedy. And here we are again. Some guy's got 20 fucking cookies. There's 2 cookies, and and the guy with the 20 cookies is telling the guy with 2 cookies, oh, the poor are coming for your 2 cookies. This is classic fucking Democrat and Republican bullshit disguised under the guise of truth.
For me, go ahead, Nico.
You're literally telling me that I'm either a Democrat or a Republican, which I am neither. No. I come from a guy that's read a lot about history, that understands economics, and that understands that nothing's free. You know how Canada has been able to afford social services? Mm-hmm. By putting it on the credit card and having the organization or the administration that comes after pay for it.
Right.
That's the problem. It looks very cool during the time, and you know what? It looks free. But the point in the matter is that they just push the ball to somebody else, and that's always what happens. You just don't want to be the person holding the fucking shit bag at the end of the line. And unfortunately, this is where we are in Canada. So again, I'm not going to argue with someone that doesn't want to talk common sense. I just won't. But at the same time, no, but hold on. But at the same time, if that's what they want to do, that's what they want to do. I didn't vote for the twat that's in office in Montreal, but I get to see what's happening.
Right.
I remember I was here. I was born here. I had the chance to leave and to explore. And when I came back, I'm like, oh shit, this is what 8 years of this bullshit does to a single city. This is what 4 to 8 years does to a province. And this is what 10 years does to the federal. So I got the chance to see it from every single level of government. And everybody's blaming everybody now. They're just, oh, it's their fault. They won't give us enough money. They won't give us enough money to do this, to do this, to do this. You know what? It's fine. People want to do it. It's fine. I'll be fine. Because I have the freedom to move around, to go somewhere else where the cost of living is going to be a lot cheaper than here. And people don't try to get everything for free. But it's fine. Because history tends to repeat itself. And that's where we're at right now.
But New York
it's just unfortunate that we don't live. It's just we don't learn.
Sorry, Nico. Sorry about that.
No, but all I'm saying is that we just don't learn. There has to be a place that's in between. I'm a centrist. At the end of the day, I sit somewhere in the middle. There's stuff that we should. Well, yeah, fuck, bro. Yes, 100% I do.
No, I'm okay. No,
I do, because I see the value in certain social services. I see it. I don't like it, but I see it. I see it.
I respect that, Nico.
But I fully fucking understand that there's a price to this. And it's not fair that you have hard workers like me, for example, that had to pay half of my salary to support people's bad decisions when I wasn't taking advantage of those social services. And I can't even, to this day, I can't even take advantage of those social services because I'm not the right demographic for those social services. Yet I've been paying for almost 30 years now. And I'm still stuck not being able to take advantage of them. I might as well pay out of pocket to get services somewhere else because they're better and they're not going to cost me that much more at the end of the day. So I'm just going to get better service. This is all I'm saying.
That makes complete sense in Montreal and Canada. But it's very, very important for me to cite that New York City is a very, very old city. So these things and these ideas are not new. These ideas have been tried in certain time periods, and in certain time periods it's failed. In certain time periods it made New York run as a better city. And I do suggest that actually having a cheaper or free transport where people can get to work is just to save money is and also affect commerce, how commerce comes in and out of the city is a great. He's got some great ideas. He's got some ideas that are out, kind of out there, and to Nico's credit, at some point has to pay for this. And it's very, very interesting to see the way the city speaks, because New York City, I know you keep mentioning Canada, you keep mentioning Montreal. I'm just, since we're all telling the truth here, there is, and I'm done being generous with this, there is zero comparison between Montreal and New York. Zip, dick, zero. Sorry.
Yeah,
It's all
I
the
mean,
same. Somebody has to pay for it. I don't care that you're American. I don't care you're in South America.
That's
Somebody
general.
has to
Everyone
pay
has to
for
pay
it.
for everything, Nico.
I mean, look,
that's bland
But that's
statement.
my point.
at the end of the day, democracy is one giant experiment. I don't care. Like, as long as people actually put in the laws they say they're going to do, I don't really care one way or the other. I'll have my opinions. I'll advocate for the laws and policies that I think will do well.
Mhm.
But if you put it into place one way or the other, we're going to know. We're going to know it's bad, it doesn't work, or hey, it's worked. And I'm not so 100% overconfident in myself that I don't think I can't be wrong.
Right.
I'm always open to the idea that I might be wrong. I'll always say, I think this is a bad law. I think this is a bad policy. But if you put it in and it works, I'll be the first to say, oh shit, I was
Can I
wrong.
say something for the people that think me and Nico hate each other, for new audience members? I want to say something about this guy. He has lived a hell of a life. Nico came on my podcast, The Option Podcast, which is also on iTunes and Spotify. Nico's like, there he goes again.
Here we go. Here we fucking
This
go.
man's story of the roller coaster ride that would have probably made some people just we're on YouTube, so I'll say unalive, right? themselves. And what he's went through that shaped the human being that he's become. He is in fact centrist. I checked him on that, but he's right. Okay, he is someone that cares about human beings. He is a true God-driven human being. And when I say God-driven, I mean like, hey, the 10 Commandments say don't cheat on your wife, don't kill nobody, don't lie. Take one day of the week and don't do anything. You're good at doing nothing, Rob? I'm good at doing nothing. I'm totally frigid. So there's a general foundation that Nico stuck to that allowed him to weather these things. So if everyone thinks Nico's like, I hate your guts, I hate you too. No, me and this man are potentially who can and will be lifelong friends. And in many ways, I feel like I owe Nico because my podcast got better and I learned how to talk to people better because of this man's civility. He was definitely more kinder in this episode than I was to him. I respect that. If I went too far, I just want to say I'm sorry, but I think sometimes we gotta get into it for everyone to agree and disagree. And your comment sections lighten the fuck up. And this is what I believe Political Orphans is all about. Rob came on my podcast. We broke the record. It was 3 hours, right?
Yeah. We did.
You were staring across the street at across your camera at a certain someone. I'm like, all right, time to get the fuck out of here. We're not going to talk about what that really was, but I think Nico knows.
That was a funny story. Oh shit.
Yeah,
my girlfriend was doing a little naughty show that I didn't think anyone could see, but I sent.
Looking at me,
apparently, yeah. Nico was like, "Why are you watching porn when you're on Jason's show?" I was like, "Oh shit, that's not porn." That was my girlfriend.
No. Okay, since you're not with her anymore, that fucktard over there sent me a picture. Sent me a nude of his ex. I'm like,
who, me,
bro? Yes.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Bro, what the fuck, man? Are you sure you meant to send?
Well, no. Well, because I didn't mean to. I was sending you. It was. What was it?
Yeah.
I had taken a picture of something, and it was in the corner. You're like,
and then in the background, there's a girl on all fours as he's on your podcast. So that's
and he's concentrating. He's doing this. I have three things to say. 1, I'm appalled. 2, I'm surprised. And 3, I'm jealous. You didn't send me the picture.
Well, because we were we were doing long distance, right? So we were zooming, and then I was like, oh shit, I got to go and do a pod with Jason. I was like, I'll talk to her. She's like, oh, just put me off to the side and go do your show, and then we can talk when you get done. I was like, yeah, okay. Figuring she'd like, I don't know, read or watch a show or something. I look over, I'm like, holy shit. Trying to like keep focus on the show me and Jason are doing.
She looks like the type of woman that read. Because I'm sure that's what Rob looks in for Nico. Women is, are you a big reader? Oh, yeah. That's very attractive to me. Fuck you, Rob. You're not fucking dating women because they read.
She's like, have you read The Fourth Turning? She's like, did you know that hard times create soft men?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What she said was, you two are going 3 hours. We never went 3 hours.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm gonna leave on this note, Jason, just so you for FYI.
Yes, tell me. What's the entire tweet?
Yeah, man. This is the entire tweet. In 2020. I did see when I Googled this, he did more recently say, well, no, actually, I don't mean to defund the police, but he did say it. And I guess, honestly, I don't like that kind of wishy-washy shit. If he said it 4 years ago, 5 years ago, you should say it now. I don't agree with it, but.
And defund the police means there's two different ways to interpret that, but we'll give that a skip. We'll give that a skip for today. Can you, before we go, can we read 2 comments from like some of the people I miss?
What's that? Before we do, just so you guys know, my wife is above me. She can hear me. And she's like, "You're retarded." Just quoting. I just got a message on WhatsApp. My wife's telling me, no, she did not say you guys are retarded. She said you're retarded, as in I am retarded. So yeah, love you too. Okay, I love you.
Yeah.
Can we read 2 comments from some of your people that I missed?
Of course.
We
Yeah. We have 5 minutes. Well, we're 25 minutes over.
Technically, we'll go. So are we going to take some comments?
We have 5 minutes, man. We need to be better with our time.
You don't have to answer all of them. Just breeze through some of them.
Yeah. So Chris here. Actually, we'll start with Sup Cuz, and I haven't even read this one yet. Islam should be classified as a terrorist organization. Okay, that's a hard. That's a
fine.
Yeah, that's a take for sure. Already it solves a lot of problems.
2.2 billion Muslims. If everyone felt the same way, that'd be a wrap. And next,
yes. I'm just breezing through them. Angry Beaver says, "Hey boys, sorry I couldn't catch you live. Hope you guys had a great day. I'll watch you later. No worries, brother."
God, you're going back far, man.
Yeah, I'll come a little quicker.
Jesus. Yeah. You've said that many times, haven't you? He didn't even realize what he just fucking said.
What's that?
Like, I'm gonna come quicker. Yeah. Okay. Sure.
Yeah. Oh, that's what she said.
Man.
That's
exactly what I just.
She has never said that, to be honest. Chris H says, just because the government took your right to protest. Oh, this is directed at you, Nico. Does not mean they should take the right to protest from these students. They shouldn't have taken your right to protest either. And I'll let you answer that.
But that's what happens. But that is what happens when the government has all the power. They pick and choose who they want to do shit. That's it. It's plain and simple. Because they didn't agree with me, I didn't have the right to do it. But because they agree with those little students fighting for shit that has nothing to do with Canada, they will agree with it. So it's plain and simple. Never try to protect the speech that you agree with. Protect the speech you do not. Because the day the government changes hands, those laws are in place and it's you that's going to get fucking censored. So at the end of the day, how do you dare censor Canadian citizens while they're being targeted and their rights are being removed from them, but you allow foreign students that are here on a temporary visa to protest for shit that has nothing to do with Canada? That's my problem. Those are not even equal protests here.
Yeah, in my opinion, like I just think this is just my opinion, man. If you go to another country, you shouldn't be protesting, even if you have the legal right. I just don't think you should. It's just if I'm a guest in someone's home, I'm not gonna put my feet up on the couch with my sneakers on. It's just it's just a common fucking courtesy, and especially if the protest has nothing to do with that country. Don't bring your 2,000-year-old tribal battles going on over here, because that's the whole point of the new world. We were escaping that shit. Leave all that shit in the past. In the old world, the new world is where you can be reborn. You can start fresh. And that's my take. I think, I don't want to speak for Nico, but I think that's his argument too, is I think if these students were citizens, were born here, even if you don't agree with them, I think you'd probably support their right to protest. It's more just the idea of, why are you going to another country to protest? I mean, sure, maybe it's legal, maybe it's your right, but I just don't think it. Personally, I don't think you should be doing it.
And this is where the only thing I'm going to add to what you just said is that visitors don't have rights. The same way as
Well, they
if I go
do,
to
but not the
US,
same, not the full rights, not the
like,
same rights as
no,
citizens.
they don't have the same rights as an American would do. Like
Yes.
if I go to the US as a Canadian, where I spend most of my winters, I'm not covered by the First Amendment. I'm not covered by the Second Amendment. I'm not covered by your amendments at all. I'm a fucking visitor. That's all I'm saying. It's just about having respect for the country that is hosting you. And I have a lot of respect for Americans. So I know my
trying really hard here. I'm just to move on to the next one.
Joe Stradamus.
But we should be pretty much done.
We're pretty much done. I'll just take one or two more here. Half the Tea Party winners in 2010 ran on ideas that were impossible to achieve, and 6 years later they got Trump into office. Yeah, I mean, maybe that's what he's going to do, is just promise a moon and then sort of go to the. It wouldn't be the first politician that campaigned on the edges and then ran to the center once elected. But we'll see.
The other way around would be more surprising.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. We'll probably put a pin in there. Guys, if
Hold
you
on,
are...
let Jason say something smart if he has any. Not that it happens very often, but let's say that he has something.
Send us
smart
away
to
and then
say. Go ahead,
All
Jason.
right, I think I'd like to use my symptoms of intelligence to say this. Political orphans. I know more about Canadian politics than I have ever known in my entire life, right? And though I disagree with them citing the Canadian experience, saying that that's going to happen in America, fine. It is what it is. Fuck that. We just disagree and life goes on. But I want to feel it on a positive note. I really, really appreciate this podcast. I really, really appreciate that we give each other a platform to agree, to disagree. And you guys are deserving of the term political orphans. You are called political orphans not because you got a name, not because you got the copyright, not because politically homeless is already taken. You got political orphans because you've earned it. And congratulations on what the show's become. I love your comment section. I fucking love Robbie. I'm glad I got to meet you through Nico. And of course, the love
you too, brother.
I have for Nico is profound.
Well, I mean, what can I add to that? But Jason, I appreciate you coming on. I always love when you come on. I always know it's going to be an interesting conversation. It's always going to get a little bit hairy, but
we actually laugh more than we fight. When I'm on when I'm on your show, we oh my God, some of the subject matter.
Oh, me and you fight more often than you and Nico. Me and you are the lefties, and we fight more often than you and Nico.
Nico will come up with something, and he's like, "Jason's gonna crack the fuck up."
Yeah, you gotta
don't let this episode fool you.
You got to start coming. You got to. I mean, I know you can't expect you to watch every single day, Monday to Friday, but start coming back a little more. We miss you, brother. Guys, if you are just joining us today for the first time and you like what you see, please remember to like and subscribe to the channel. And if you really want to support us, you can do that by becoming a member through the YouTube portal, I guess, or just right on your YouTube screen there. You will be supporting independent media and, of course, help building this great community. As you can see, it's really a no labels place where we have people from all over the right and the left. The common theme here is common sense. As long as you have that, you got a place here. And thank you to Jason for coming in today. Hopefully you come back a little more often, or at least pop in the comment section a little more often.
Shit out of you guys. I would love
to. You too, brother. It's always love. It's all love here. Other than that, guys, it is Thursday. We will see you tomorrow for the Friday show, and we'll get a nice start to the weekend. Be safe, have fun, and we'll catch you